Did you send me a song? Let me look at my phone.
Literally, that would help. What's good, everyone? Thank y'all for coming. Thank y'all for being here on a Friday. It is a different day. Same shenanigans.
Yep. Damn.
Something
Oh,
better.
what's up? What's up? Let me see. Let me come out of his screen here. Tia, hi Tia. Happy Valentine's Day. We appreciate you. I'm Nirvana,
And I am the dynamicist,
and
and
we're
we're
unlatched
unlatched
on a Friday.
on a
You know
Friday.
what? I
On
didn't
a
even
Friday.
really think of a song myself, but I can always just go to my playlist and play something I like.
Well, everything I'm playing tonight is going to have a meaning, so get to it. Run
Well,
it.
go ahead and play your thing.
You want me to play
I really
some?
don't have a song. Mm-mm.
Oh, shit. Well, in that case.
Hi, Truth.
In that case, we shall start it off with this one. Give me 1 second. Y'all in for a doozy tonight.
Happy
We're gonna get
Valentine.
we're gonna get to some shit. We gonna get to some shit. What I'm gonna do though, is I'm gonna take y'all excuse me, I'm gonna take y'all back for a minute. We're gonna go into the archives a tad bit. You ready for this one? Cuzzo, you ready for this?
I'm ready.
Alright, let's run it. Can you hear that? Every nigga is a star. Every nigga is a star. Every nigga is a star.
Can
Listen,
you
you a
try to hear
star.
it? Okay?
Huh? What?
I'm trying to see if they can hear it. If they can hear it, okay. It sounds a little low.
When the four corners of this cocoon collide, you'll slip through the cracks, hoping that you'll survive. Gather your way, take a deep look inside. Are you really there to care for butterfly? First I did love you, but I just wanna find nice thinking of you until I got my life tossed in her. Listen, you was my first girlfriend, rich and fine, across the hall. When I get signed, homie, I'm acting fool. Hit the dance floor, stroke links in a row. Not your little secretary bitch for the homies. Blue-eyed devil with a fat ass mouth. I'ma buy a brand new Cuddy on Vows. Truck the hood up 2 times, do slow. Platinum on everything, platinum on wet, right? Married to the game and the bad bitch shows. When I get signed, homie, I'ma buy a strap. Straight from the CIA, set it in my lap. Take a few M16s to the hood.
I think it's going in and out.
I'ma put the cameras spot me by the White House. Reporter game run up, gets knocked out. Hit the press with a Cuban link on my neck. I'm educated, but I got $1 million check like that.
Hold on, guys. We trying something new, y'all. Happy Valentine.
It's Ray. Came out to the house.
Is it like a noise cancellation on like mine was?
You want to a house, you a car, 40 acres and a mule, a piano, what
That's a little better. I think.
Motherfucker, you can live at the mall. I know you're a guy. That's why I'm don't have receipts. Oh man, that's fine. Pay me later. Wear those gaiters. Cliche and say fuck your haters. I can see the bottom.
I think that's better. I think that's better. I think. You guys let us know in the chat.
Because you make me live forever, baby. Count it all together, baby. They hit the register, make me feel better, baby. Your horoscope is a Gemini, 2 sides. So you better cop everything 2 times. 2 coops, 2 chains, 2 C-notes. Too much ain't enough, but we know. Christmas, tell them what's on your wish list. Get it all, you deserve it, Kendrick. And when you hit the White House, do you? But remember, you ain't passed economics in school. And everything you buy, Texas will deny. How Wesley sniped your ass before 35.
Yeah, looking down is quite a time. Looking good when you're on top. Better metaphors, leaving metaphors metaphysically in a state of euphoria. Look both ways before you cross.
It went down again. Did you move it?
We should never give niggas money, go back home. Money, go back home. We should never give, we should never give niggas money, go back home.
That's better. It could have just been that song, but that was better when you got closer.
Okay.
That could have been, it could have just been that. Oh, we can't hear you. Can't hear you. Can't hear you. We can't hear you.
So you saw me talking and you didn't say
I
nothing?
said we can't hear you 3 times and you steadily talking.
Shit, I can't hear you.
Well, she said they can hear me. We can hear you eating those chips.
Hold on, shit. Hold on.
That's
Fudge.
I don't know what he's doing over there.
Okay. My mic is this one. Speaker is that.
Truth, I'm snacking.
Okay, but you know what? Hold on.
Hi, East Dad. Happy Valentine's.
Hey, can you say something real quick?
Happy Valentine's Day. Happy Valentine's Day. Happy Valentine's Day. It's dark in here. Let me turn the light on. So you guys, we're going to be talking about, I don't know, Jason's doing this topic, but it's basically about symbolism. But I'll let him explain what the topic is, you guys. But we're just here to learn and have a good time tonight. And have a conversation, a dialogue.
Shit, walking around like you God's gift to earth. Nigga, you ain't shit.
Are you there? Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
God, okay. All right, I think I got it figured out. I think I do, at least.
Okay.
Yeah. All right. So, yeah, we still in there. Man, yeah. Making some adjustments so we can hear you eating those chips. Yeah. You know, are you still there?
Yeah.
Fuck, this thing keeps going out on my end.
You can't hear me? You can't hear me? Can you guys hear me in the chat? We hear him sniffling his nose. Maybe I should keep eating these chips. Happy Friday, y'all. I'm so glad. Okay. Hey, y'all.
Yeah.
Hey, Chantel. Hi, True.
Hear nothing.
We can hear you eating those chips. Let me see if you can hear this. Okay, yeah.
All right.
Okay, yeah.
All
He
right, I'm
just
back.
me, I guess.
What'd you say?
Can you hear me?
I can hear you now. I can hear you now. Man. Okay, so yeah, I gotta figure this part out. This is different and it's not really working the way I expected it to. So it is what it is. But anyway, let's get to it. So talk to me. What's happening with you?
Not much. I was just telling them that you're gonna present tonight, and we're gonna be talking about symbolism, I think, but you'll explain, you know, and that we want their participation. And I'm
Definitely.
gonna stay. I'm gonna stay up on the chat, and we're gonna be a little more diligent. I'll let him know if somebody says something in the chat, so we can respond right away to it. And I'll be watching it, so you guys participate.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So we're gonna see if this works. I'm not really sure. But we're gonna run it though. We're gonna run it and see what's happening. All right. So today, right, there's been a lot of talk, a lot of chatter about the performance, Kendrick Lamar's performance at the Super Bowl. If you haven't gotten a chance to see it, you definitely want to check that out. Um, we'll try to play as many clips as we can, but I did hear you can get copyrighted for that, playing that in particular, because that's Apple Music and whatever that other case may be. Um,
Right, but we don't care about copyright over here.
Well, no, the thing about copyright is just like your old lives before, it'll shut the live down. That's what I'm assuming happens.
Oh yeah, we
But
won't play
maybe
it.
not.
Yeah, no, we'll be okay. So play whatever you want.
Okay. So now let's do this. So if you haven't gotten a chance to see it, it was a performance. Now there's a lot of chatter about what the significance of that performance actually was, and you're gonna get some people that say one thing, other people say another thing. In your experience after watching it, what were your thoughts about that performance?
I mean, I loved it. I wasn't really. I knew it had some symbolic meaning. I knew it was deep. Let's just put it that way. But while watching it, I don't know if anybody saw T-Pain's live reaction to it, but that's kind of, I think, how mine was. It was like you just knew it was dope, and you knew it was a lot to it, and there were moments when you're like, ooh, where they catch you. But kind of like when True texted me that night, she was like, damn, when somebody breaks this shit all the way down, it's gonna be dope. And like you said, a lot of people have been breaking it down. And I was looking at one video in particular, they broke the thing down, but I didn't watch the whole video. But yeah, I thought it was dope. The song selection, and I just think it's even doper that it's more to it.
Yeah, yeah, and especially when you consider the type of person. So, a lot of people kind of feel like with Kendrick's music in particular that you have to be hella intelligent to kind of understand it. Um, he doesn't make music for the club scene, things of that nature. And there's some truth to that, right? He can, though. Obviously, as we've seen, he legitimately did. But what we're finding is that with a lot of Kendrick's music in particular, you really got to stay tuned in to what's happening. And nothing about his music ever is just for the moment, because you can trace back things that he's said previously in his other songs that will be pertinent for what he's talking about now, or something he might be addressing. It's never just solely about the one thing. So even when you consider this Drake debate, and some people were saying, man, the whole thing was about Drake. Drake had very little to do with this performance. Very little to do with this performance. Now, they do say he is King Petty at this point. Like, I heard Jason Lee, and Jason Lee is hilarious to me. He's hella messy though. I don't follow a lot of his shit, and not primarily because of that. He just doesn't come up in my feed. But every time I get a chance to listen to him, he has something to say, and he talks a lot about from his world point of view and the shit that he experiences in Hollywood. Woo. Are you familiar with Jason Lee?
Yep.
Okay, all right, yeah.
I
So
know him from back in the day. He used to be messy with the
oh, yeah.
gays.
Oh, this nigga, he's still messy. Oh, he's hella messy.
Hi,
But
White Down. Hi, Spiky.
what's good, everybody? Thank y'all for sliding. But he is hella messy. But what's interesting about it though is if you listen beyond it, and he's kind of to me, I'm not gonna put these two people in the same category. There's nothing similar to them except for they will speak what they believe, and they speak it to such a degree it is kind of unapologetic. And I would say like Charleston White, right? So some people don't like him, some people cool.
You either
But if
love
you
him or hate
listen, yeah, but if you listen to what he's actually saying,
him.
he's making a lot of sense though, and he
Who,
addresses things.
Jason Lee?
No, I'm talking about Charleston White.
Oh.
But in light of that, with Jason Lee is very similar. If you listen to what he's saying, he's speaking from his point of view, right? So anyway, the point of what I'm saying in this is when you listen to a lot of people's breakdown of what took place, you're going to get the like it or love it for the most part. And they say, well, it's not as good as Usher's performance or whatever the case may be. And when I was watching it, I had a moment where I said to myself, I said, yeah, did I really want to party with this performance? No. I said, but it appealed to something else. And I said, and I even remember saying this to the homie when we was watching at the Super Bowl party. I said, man, I'm gonna have to look back at this one again because I know for a fact there's some hidden layers to all of this.
Mm-hmm.
Now, that being said, let's get right to it because there's a lot of shit in this one. You gotta check this out though. And so we'll do our best to try to touch briefly on what it is, and I'm going to give some historical context for some of the things that he actually said, especially right in the beginning and what this actually relates to. So give me 1 second. Let me pull this up real quick.
Okay.
My apologies. Let's see here now. Okay, can we skip back? All right, so let's see here. Now, I'm going to try to play this as well from my end. We'll see if it actually shows up though. Okay. Let's see here. Let's go share my screen.
Mm-hmm.
Let's share this screen right here.
Happy Valentine's Day, White Down.
Are you still there, cousin? Can you hear me?
Yep.
Can you say something real quick?
I did.
Let me ask you, just give me a second. Can you hear this?
The National Football League welcomes you to Apple Music Super Bowl 59 halftime show.
Okay. All right, let's get to it. Pay attention, right here. We in it.
Salutations! It's your uncle, Sam. And this is the Great American Game.
My Gemini twin back powering up. No more handshakes and hugs. The energy only circulate through us. Everybody must be judged. But this time, God only favoring us. 20 years in, still got that pen dedicated to a bare hard truth. And he can speak with a vision and tongue. Predicate this time is I'm carrying heavier hearts right now. Like a power to live with Olympians too. Carrying various darts right now. I deserve this like tiramisu. We go body for body. I ain't you a body. I'm probably a better masseuse. Really don't bother nobody, but they running by me. If I got to clear out the room, you would not get the picture if I had to sit you for hours in front of the Louvre. When I have a soul, even if I told you to stand next to Johnny and Q. Starting with nothing but government cheese, but now I can seize the government too. Remember the foods, them color was tan and brown, but now the 100 is blue. Remember I said I'm the greatest back when you debated the number one and number two. Topic was always hilarious to me. You carried them to me, I brought out the The revolution about to be televised. You picked the right time, but the wrong guy.
Someone better squabble.
All right, can you hear me?
Yeah.
All right. Okay. So in this first part, did you catch anything in that? Or what kind of did anything stand out for
No,
you?
I could barely. That was the thing with me. Like, I barely understand what he's saying. Like, I can't really make out what he's saying. But I did watch a video where
Hold on.
somebody had said, "Can you hear me? Can you hear me?"
Give me 1 second. Hold on. Say something for me real quick.
Can you hear me?
Okay. All right, say something again.
Can you hear me?
Fudge, man, this is killing me. Come on, don't do me like this.
He's working on his audio, but while he works on that, um, I was saying that, with the performance, I could, like, I'm like that. I don't know if you guys saw that meme of that old white man trying to understand what Kendrick was saying. That's how I was. I don't know all the lyrics. That's why I look up lyrics all the time, you guys. So I know whatever he's saying was deep. That's why I had to watch videos where people were breaking it down. And that clip that Jason just played, when he said you picked the right time and the wrong guy, I know he's talking about Trump right there. We can hear both of y'all, but you can't hear each other, right? Jason can't hear me. I can hear him. It's something on his end he's working on. But Wipe Down, did you like that performance? I know I'm sure you did, but I know you were at a bar too when you saw it. Was everybody hype about it? Wipe Down. Hi, Susan. Can you hear me, Jason?
Yeah, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yeah. Okay, I can hear you.
All right.
Everybody said they could hear both of us. It's
Okay, so
just you
they can
can't
hear.
hear me, I think.
Yeah. So I'm not sure why does it keep switching it off and it deads it. If I'm playing the music, it overrides and then I can hear you and talk back. But once I cut the music off, it kills all the sound
Okay.
on my end. So anyway, you said something that was interesting because I didn't catch that from that. Um,
What part?
when he makes that statement about you picked the right guy but the wrong time.
No, you
Right?
picked the
No, no,
right
no, no.
time, but the
Right
wrong
time,
guy.
but the wrong guy, right? The idea behind that is because of what he was preparing, what he was actually going to do within this performance. So I didn't catch the fact that it had anything to do with Trump. That really wasn't my angle. What I saw though was him speaking about what he's going to do with the platform that he's given. Because was he here to entertain you? No, I'm not here to entertain you. When you think about Kendrick Lamar's catalog, he's got songs that go all the way back to swimming pools, and he's got a million songs that he could have played out there on a Super Bowl stage to make people want to dance, get up, and kind of like get vibe with the moment. But he didn't choose any of those songs. And there was a lot of critique about, well, man, he should have did this, he should have did that.
Uh-huh.
But there's something that I think people are not paying as close enough attention to is he's been telling you within the music and within the lyrics what this has been all about the whole time. Because there's a song, and I don't know if I'll be able to play it now. I had those things, but it keeps killing our sound, and I'm not even sure if this will get played through. But there's a song where he talks about watching the party die. Did you hear that? Did you ever hear that song that he did? And this is during in the midst of the whole Drake beef thing.
No.
Oh man. So he puts out this song called Watch the Party Die, and the cover art was some black Air Force Ones. If you know, you know. Black Air Force energy means I'm about that business and I'm about the action. So anyway, he puts this song out, and in the song he's talking about watching the party die so that then the party can now be resurrected, if you will, right?
Okay.
And so the idea that I was catching from this is when he's coming out and he's making it very clear, this is not going to be, this is not about a performance. This is a message.
That was right
So
in the beginning. The part you just played. That's what you got out of that part.
yes,
Okay.
legitimately, right? Now, and I'm gonna tell you why, and I'll go back to this piece. So you remember in the very beginning, he makes this statement. He says, "The revolution will not be televised," right?
Uh-huh.
But he says in his statement, he says, well, he makes a statement in this one. He says the revolution will be televised. But let's go back to Gil Heron Scott, who's a poet and also a lyricist. He was a musician as well. Are you familiar with Gil Heron?
I'm not.
Okay, all right.
It's a
Tell me,
poet.
oh yeah, but you know it. But let me tell you. Tell me, have you ever heard this real quick? Can you hear the music?
Uh-uh.
Okay, let's see if I can fix that. Give me a second. Let's try this.
Okay.
Tell me if you can hear it.
Oh, not yet. Okay. Now I can't hear you. I can't hear you. Wipe down talking about I'm still Team Drake. No.
Could you
I
hear
can hear
that
you
though?
now. I can hear you now. No, we couldn't hear the music, but
You still
I
couldn't
could.
hear what was playing though, right?
No, I couldn't hear anything. We could hear you now though. We couldn't
All
hear you
right.
at first.
All right. All
You
right.
want
All
to
right. All
send
right.
it to me?
So
Is it a
let's do this.
song?
Let's do this. Let's make an adjustment. Let's make a slight adjustment because it doesn't look like I am going to be able to play stuff on my end, but there's more than one way to skin that cat. No disrespect meant by that. Okay, can you hear me now?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I
Yeah,
hear
I
you.
don't know what's going on, so it kills it. Anyway, Gil Heron Scott. If you get a chance, look this up on YouTube. You might actually be able to play it. But there's a back in the 70s, he made a statement. And matter of fact, let's do this because I really think that people need to hear this. I'm gonna send you a video where he's actually talking about what that actually meant when he said this back in the 70s. So in the 70s, he came out with this piece, and it was like the revolution will not be televised. And then I found video where he actually is talking about what that actually meant. And I think it's great as far as context as it relates to what was Kendrick talking about when he did this performance. Because he used that term, but that term comes from the 70s when Gil Heron Scott spoke about this. And there was a whole vibe around that, right? Whole vibe around that. So let's see. Let me see if I can get this video to you. That way you might actually be able to
But
get it.
we can hear it when you play the video. It just takes my voice out, huh? Okay, send it to me.
It takes your voice out and then it mutes. Well, it mutes everything. And I can't hear anything on my end.
Okay.
Okay, so let's see here. All right, I'm gonna send you this video. Matter of fact, in the meantime, if you had your stuff that you wanted to play, you're welcome to go ahead and play it.
Oh, I had yeah, let me play this thing with this I like okay, let me just share my screen real quick. I found this clip of Farrakhan. I'm gonna share this with you guys. All right. So right here, check this out, y'all. So this is trip on this. I'm gonna play this video. Okay, this is Farrakhan speaking on Kendrick Lamar when he met with Kendrick Lamar. This video is 7 years ago. Farrakhan has been loving on Kendrick Lamar for a very long time, and I found this very interesting. I'm gonna play it.
And that's why I love the rappers. So we are under assault. And that's why I love the rappers. I have an album coming out, by the way.
Hold on, did you I'll take a bow. You say anything on there.
I was in the mastering studio in Los Angeles, and I ran into Kendrick Lamar, and Kendrick was finishing his album.
Yes,
And he said, damn. Damn. And he ran into me. I was in another studio. He was in one. And I know that the white people were excited because we were hugging each other and we showed a lot of love to each other, because I have great respect for him, for Chance, and for those rappers. My man over here, Conflict, who is putting wisdom in song, wisdom in rap. See, you can educate your people away from the enemy just with one rap. Now, T.D. Jakes is one of the great preachers, but one rap is worth 100 sermons. Especially if the sermon got you looking back 2,000 years ago when Jesus is walking today.
Come on.
We in the Roman government now. America is the modern Rome. America is the modern Babylon. America is the modern Sodom and Gomorrah. America is the modern Egypt, in which the people of God have been enslaved under tyranny for 460 years. It's time for the black man to go free. So this is the mission of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, and this is my assignment. I know, Sherelle, you gave such a beautiful question, and I got a run-on sentence, but I can't help myself.
So I was sharing that because I found it pretty interesting. I'm gonna stop sharing. I found it interesting because I didn't know that Farrakhan was tapped in like that, and also Farrakhan made a comment regarding Kendrick Lamar's Super Bowl performance. And he spoke to how important it was that we listen. And so when I had found that video that broke it down, that broke the performance down, scene by scene, I was amazed at how much was being said and how without actually saying it. The only part that I wish, and I didn't have enough time or wherewithal, I really wasn't putting too much into this one, but the lyrics, like actually what Kendrick is saying, like the lyrics he's spitting, because I know all of that matters too. But yeah, I just wanted to share that one. Now, Jason, yeah, I don't know if you wanted to speak to that video. I see what you sent me.
Yeah, definitely. That was very poignant of a comment and a point that he was making when you consider the state of people. And I think this is where it comes down. What it comes down to is, do the people want to be entertained or do they want to be elevated? Because you can't have both. The problem with trying to use the idea of entertainment to elevate by itself is that entertainment is not controlled by the entertainer. If I hire you to perform at my venue, I want you to perform what I want you to perform for my audience. right? As a public speaker, it's important to know your audience. So I may use certain terms with one audience that I don't use in another context when I'm in a different space with a different audience. A good example of that was I used to follow a lot of Joyce Myers. And Joyce Myers is a televangelist. She's a preacher. She has a huge following. She's written a lot of great books. I still stand by several of her books that she wrote when she's talking about the journey of being human. Because what she mentions, this one is called Battlefield of the Mind, and she talks a lot about, you know, her struggles, her storyline. So she's a fantastic person to read about their story because she's gone through a lot of shit and was able to come out on the other side of it. That being said, she made a statement one time in one of her sermons, and she was talking about how what she says here in America is PG-13. It flies under the radar. It's appropriate for the context. But when she went overseas, and I think she was in Britain or the UK or somewhere, she said the exact same thing, and people kind of were taken aback by it. Well, after the fact, because it got a lot of backlash and stuff like that, and she was like, well, what is the problem? And what are people so upset about? And what it was a term that she used. A term that she used for this audience was not appropriate for that audience. You got to know, you know, your audience. So I say that to say it's well understood as a speaker that when you're or as an entertainer, that your purpose there is to entertain the people, right? But Kendrick Lamar did something totally different, and he went off completely off script. Going back to the video, in the very beginning of the video, not only did he have that GNX that he was rapping on stage, but did you see the amount of people that came out that motherfucker?
Out the car. Oh, I didn't even notice that. Yeah, yeah.
Here go the sound shit going on. I can't hear nothing.
You can't hear me again? No.
Say something.
Can you hear me? I wonder why it's doing that.
Okay.
Because it was, you didn't play nothing. Now that time you wasn't playing. Hi SD. Why am I yelling?
It's right now.
Hi SD. I feel like I'm yelling. Wait, hold on. There was another video I wanted to show you guys too. I'm gonna find it. Power off. He said power off.
Yeah, we're gonna fix all this shit right now.
I'm gonna show this too. I'm gonna show this to you guys. Jason's gonna talk about, I think he's about to say something about, what was he gonna say, y'all? He was saying something about he's saying that you can't use entertainment to teach. I think I don't know if that's what he.
That's not what I was saying.
Oh, okay. I have when I was going to tell them, I have a I found
attention deficit.
No, I found a video that breaks down the performance. It's 6 minutes long. That was the one I was looking for while you couldn't hear me. But go ahead, finish what you were going to say. What was you?
What I'm saying is this: you can't just solely rely on entertainment to get the message right. You have to educate as well as elevate. Kendrick Lamar took the opportunity rather than just to entertain the masses. And I'm gonna put it in the context if you're wondering how in this whole issue with him and Drake. It wasn't based on a female. It wasn't based on somebody didn't give an opportunity to rap on a song or some petty shit. Kendrick's main issue with Drake and the idea of a Drake is you are benefiting from the culture, but you don't do shit for the culture. Period.
Mm-hmm.
Drake is not just one person of many. Well, Drake is one of many that are part of that. Because in the songs, and man, you got to hear this other one, Let the Party Die. He's calling all of that out.
Now, this is a Kendrick song, because I could try to find it while you talk.
It's on YouTube. Yes, it's on YouTube, and when you listen to it, it's like the end credits, because if you look at kind of when that came out, which was right after a lot of this stuff hit, which was he's basically saying, I'm coming after all of this shit. Like These people who are here, you're not doing shit for the culture. All you're doing is speaking about shit that's damaging and destroying the people. And one of the biggest knocks on Drake historically is that when it came to black issues, he was unbelievably silent. But you're supposed to be the number one. So you're the greatest of all time. And yet this vehicle that you're a part of came from these people, but yet you do nothing for those people.
What's the name of the song?
Huh?
What's
the party die. Let the party die. And that's like a 6 or 7 minute song, though. I mean, well, yeah, it's probably thinking about 6 minutes.
Okay, I'm just looking it up while you're talking. I'm looking.
Yeah. So in a lot of these songs, you'll hear pieces, but following his music, he's talking. He's in a legitimate discourse. So when he chose those songs were intentional. As far as the lyric pieces, if you listen to Apple Music's version of that performance, has those lyrics and then has the songs very clear. When we watched it at the Super Bowl party, it was distorted, and I think that's what a lot of people's experience was. They said they really couldn't make out what he was saying over the music. Apple Music's version is very clear. It's very clear. So if you get a chance, check that out and look and listen to the lyrics, because the lyrics along with the imagery. So in the very beginning, again, he hops out that, all the people hop out of the GNX, and you have those that are dressed in red, those dressed in white, those are dressed in blue. And obviously red, white, and blue, the American flag, because you can see at a point in the performance or in that moment, they are structured as a flag. But what was interesting is that he was standing in the middle of that. And the message behind that, and even the messaging behind, did you notice the dancers though? All of them?
What about them?
Did you notice? Did anything stand out to you about all those dancers?
No, other than the fact that they were in the colors they were dancing in.
They were all black. Every last
one. Okay.
Every last one of them. And that was a critique that came out, which is, well, why didn't he have other cultures represented? Why didn't he have, but there's a lot of different dancers out there. He could have had any number of dancers, but he had all black dancers.
Good for him.
Right? No, but it's not good for him. It's the message.
No, but I'm saying it is good for him because he didn't have to do it. I'm sure he had to go up against people that told him that's not a good idea. The choices that what Kendrick Lamar did, he did because he wanted to do them. So that is good for him, in my opinion, because he didn't have to do that.
Yeah, he didn't. But he did it intentionally, because everything about this moment was to share a message. And the statement, the revolution will be televised, is so fucking heavy. Because from going back to Gil Heron Scott's piece, what he was talking about, and that's the video I sent you. So when we get a chance, you can play the other video, but when you get a chance, when you get into that one, we'll give the context.
You sent me something on Instagram.
Yeah.
You sent me a reel. I can't play that on my. I can let them hear it, but not see it. So this is a reel.
Yeah, well, I can actually play it. I can do it on mine if you put it on your if it's on your Mac, because your messages should go to your Mac too, right?
Okay, so let me pull up my messages on my Mac. Hold on.
And then you share your screen, and it shares the screen that, or go into your IG.
I can't go into my IG. That's on my computer.
Man, but listen, so anyway, so while she's doing that, so he does this, right? And there's a lot of flack about it, whatever, but there was something significant about it. So not only does he have all black, but then they create the flag, right? And now what's interesting about the flag is the message or what he was actually saying. The message that is coming across is that all of this was built on the backs of these people. Your job is to entertain. If you listen to the character that Sam Jackson played, which was Uncle Sam, and then the messaging behind that. You have to go back to one of his older songs. It's called Wesley's Theory on To Pimp a Butterfly. That song, he talks about that character and what Uncle Sam is, what he personifies in that song to him. And he was saying how I can give you all of these things, but I need you in essence, just like Sam Jackson says, I need you to know do you know how to play the game? America wants to be entertained. All that hard, all that ghetto shit, they don't want that. They want that soft shit. They want the stuff that makes you feel good. That's all that they want. Irrespective of the pain and irrespective of the challenges that you're currently presented by. He wasn't just talking about him as an artist. It is the people. So he makes that opening statement, oh no, the revolution is going to be televised now. The context of that, when you listen to Gil Heron Scott talk about it, and what he was talking about was the inner revolution that takes place first. I am of the belief that we are already experiencing the next leg of that revolution. It is going to be televised, but it will not be because media has done it. It will be because of you. You are the television. You are the televising of what's taking place. Like, and then this goes further into his performance, even further down, and you picking up other details. And there's so much information I would love to share about it, but I can't seem to get it to play on my end. But I can back up all this shit that I'm telling you based on the things that he said himself and the stories and how you kind of follow the breadcrumbs and what he's been putting down and then how that whole performance went. Even how Uncle Sam gets frustrated because he veers off. He does what he wasn't supposed to do. And that's when he played, that song.
Who does what he's not supposed to do? Kendrick?
Kendrick, yeah. So that was the whole interplay. So if you listen to what Sam Jackson was saying as Uncle Sam, he got upset and he gets cut off because he's like, no. And then that whole piece about scorekeeper deduct one life. That shit was real. That shit was heavy. What he was.
Yeah, I think that was in the video that I found when they broke everything down, but I didn't watch the whole thing. I knew that part had significance. I knew it did. I just didn't know to what.
Play the video you have, because I don't know if this guy or whoever this person is, I don't know if they saw from the angle that I'm seeing it as. So I think that'll be great because they might be on the same shit. It could potentially be on the same shit.
Do you want me to do the Instagram one first? I just gotta. I'll do that one first. I think I gotta choose the one and share my entire screen. Share, and then I gotta go to
I like that.
My messages, and you said go here.
Is it going to be televised in the 90s?
Well, the catchphrase, what that was all about, the revolution will not be televised, that was about the fact that the first change that takes place is in your mind. You have to change your mind before you change the way you live and the way you move. So when we said that the revolution will not be televised, we were saying it like that the thing that's going to change people is something that no one will ever be able to capture on film. It'll just be something that you see, and all of a sudden you realize, I'm on the wrong page. Or I'm on the right page, but I'm on the wrong note. And I've got to get in sync with everyone else to understand what's happening in this country. But I think that the Black Americans have been the only real diehard Americans here, because we're the only ones who carried the process through the process. That everyone else has to sort of like skip stages. We're the ones who marched, we're the ones who carried the Bible, we're the ones who carried the flag, we're the ones who tried to go through the courts. And being born American didn't seem to matter, because we were born Americans, but we still had to fight for what we were looking for.
I'm gonna play that again.
The revolution wasn't televised in the 60s. Is it going to be televised in the 90s?
Well, the catchphrase, what that was all about, the revolution will not be televised, that was about the fact that the first change that takes place is in your mind. You have to change your mind before you change the way you live and the way you move. So when we said that the revolution will not be televised, we were saying it like that the thing that's going to change people It's something that no one will ever be able to capture on film. It'll just be something that you see, and all of a sudden you realize I'm on the wrong page, or I'm on the right page, but I'm on the wrong note. And I've got to get in sync with everyone else to understand what's happening in this country. But I think that the Black Americans have been the only real die-hard Americans here, because we're the only ones who carried the process through the process. That everyone else has to sort of like skip stages. We're the ones who marched, we're the ones who carried the Bible, we're the ones who carried the flag, we're the ones who tried to go through the courts. And being born American didn't seem to matter, because we were born Americans, but we still had to fight for what we were looking for.
Being born American didn't seem to matter.
Right. I actually want to I'm looking at the comments here, and I want to actually look at the full interview. And I mean I don't even know who Gil Scott Heron is. And I would love to. I'm going to try to find the full interview on YouTube, and then hopefully I could play it and we could all look at the interview. Because I think this will be good for me, and then it'll probably be good for us. This is the 90s. I mean, damn, I was in high school. You know what I'm saying? So that wasn't that long ago.
Doing that, and also check out the actual video of. You can check out that song that he wrote, which is where that term came from. It was in a song that he composed and put together, but it was poetic because he wasn't singing or anything like that. He was talking over this beat. And he was saying, he kept repeating the phrase, the revolution will not be televised. And he starts listing out all these different things. Like, you won't be able to, you're not going to see X, Y, and Z. The revolution won't be televised. And ultimately it's getting to the point of you are the revolution, right? And it starts on the inside. What I believe that Kendrick was doing, though, was when he changed one word and says that it will be televised. I believe what he's saying is very prophetic, though. I believe what he's saying is he's actually identifying that there is a new movement that's happening in light of, or you could, and some might even say, in spite of what's taking place all around this country. But there is a movement that's taking place. And there's a remnant, and a remnant is just a people that are hearing the same things, are passionate about the same things, or are moving towards a certain direction. Gil made a statement. He said, you'll find out that, man, I'm not on the right beat. Let me adjust my cadence, if you will, so I can get in line and get in step with what's going on. That was in the 70s. He captures the messaging in the 90s when they were asked him about it, and he goes into, and even that statement he just made, and there's a few different videos that will capture that, but I love that one in particular because a lot of them don't show the fullness of that statement, what he was actually saying, because he made some great points about how these Black Americans in particular, right, they carried the flag. If you go to Kendrick's performance, they were the flag. That wasn't accidental. That wasn't on some just solely patriotic shit. The truth of the matter is, you are more this actually does belong to you and always has been. But here's the thing, though. Even how you notice that the flag got split, and you, in light of all of the political shit that's taking place, in light of all the liberties that are now being removed, in light of all the things that are happening to us and happening to this country right before our very own eyes, oh, it's a whole new movement that's taking place. And that's the part, right? Is, oh, you're going to see it. All the videos that have came out about this happening, that happening, and you can watch mainstream media and you're only going to see a portion. But what do? We tend to go to social media and we'll see things from our peers that have posted things, and we're picking up information that, oh man, I wasn't a part of that committee meeting, but man, what the fuck is this?
Mm-hmm.
Who the fuck? Who the fuck passes this on as if it's okay? Oh, I didn't see that whole event when it aired in CNN at 4 in the morning, but someone on social media, they have put some information out, right? And you're able to see it. I honestly believe that this is a part of this whole new thing, right? Is people are being their own media, their own journalists. People are digging for information and then they're sharing the information across their networks and it's informing the people. Whereas there's never been a time like this. There's never been a time where we had access. In the 60s, when the excuse me, in the 60s when the revolution was taking place, or uh the what was it called? Man, I'm getting brain fog for some reason. In the 60s when they had
Civil rights.
the civil rights movement.
Mm-hmm.
It took us years, and I'm talking about years, before people saw all of the images and all of the stuff that came out as a result of what was happening. The people that were there knew, but all across the country, it was not widely known. It was no way for them to know, because all of that information did not get publicized the way that things will get publicized today. So we live in a different day and age where there's still the spin machines happening. There's still all of that. You have news networks that are dedicated to spinning whatever story. They're only going to show you whatever it is. Truth behind that is that it's like three major corporations that are running all of the media anyway. And they control the storyline, they control the narrative, and put out the information that they want to be put out. But ultimately, it's going to be the people. And I so love what he took the opportunity to do. He took an unbelievable opportunity, and instead of saying I'm going to make these people move or dance, I'm gonna give them something to think about.
Yeah, but like you said earlier, and then what I picked up from, I mean, what I dawned on me when I found that Farrakhan video interview was, Kendrick's not new to this. He's true to this. This is who he is. And I mean, he's been rolling with the Farrakhan's, for lack of a better term, probably for a very long time. That was 7 years ago, so probably even longer than that. So to me, the fact that he even has come this far, he being Lamar Kendrick, with the mentality that he had and still has, is, to me, says a lot. Because that one week when we were talking about Snoop Dogg and I was calling him a sellout because he was tap dancing for Trump, Kendrick's like the polar opposite of that. They were both in front of Trump, but one nigga was tap dancing and the other nigga was speaking some shit.
One nigga was entertaining, the other nigga was elevating.
Exactly.
Entertainment versus elevation.
Just popped in my mind. Compare them two niggas. Which one do you want to be? I'm gonna be Kendrick. I don't know who dynamics is supposed to be.
we almost at the hour, and we're gonna take a brief break. But when we come back, it's the real life application. We do have some more media that we want to share.
Let me stop sharing my screen.
We'll get into that piece as well. So it's another breakdown. I'm interested to see it because I'm not sure what things that they. I haven't seen the video that you have, but I'm not sure what things that they actually are bringing to light. But there's
I'm gonna play that song you gave us at the hour, the one you just gave us. I found the YouTube video with the lyrics to the song you just told us about for Kendrick. So I'm gonna play that. Let that play.
Okay.
While we take a break.
All right.
So this is the song Jason was telling me.
It says this in this song is "Let the Party Die." So if you haven't heard it, it's one of the recent ones. It's before GNX came out, but he put this out. And again, follow the breadcrumbs, because all these songs, going back to Euphoria, to all of them in sequence, they were all had meaning, and he was sharing something. And then he puts this one out. And again, and then in light of this one, and then GNX comes out, and then you have the Super Bowl performance. Oh, it's still in sequence. and it gives you insight into more so why, where's he coming from, who is he targeting. It's not just about Drake. Drake is just, if you will,
Is the
he,
fall guy? What
yeah,
you call it?
he represents something.
The crash dummy.
Yeah, he just represents something ultimately because of what he stands for, and
It's
the
too
whole nine
bad.
yards.
That's too bad for Drake. I mean, but hey, it's your turn.
Well, you got to remember too. You got to be careful because you'll fuck around and find out. And we've been talking about that for a couple years now.
Right.
And you know what? He kept poking the bear. He kept poking the bear. You can go back where he got a song where he was like, drop, 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 drop. Oh, it's gonna be another 10 years before we hear from Kendrick again. He said, okay, say less. You want this shit? I'm gonna give it to you.
Right.
And then came out, and then this nigga, oh, this shit is hilarious because then he
now
comes out
and shit.
And he was like, well, man, he said, man, now you dropping song after song, man. This is all played out. His whole tune changed. And it's like you can hear him on one song talking about, oh, this nigga ain't gonna do nothing, and then the next song is like, oh man, this shit is played out. It's too much.
Right. It's too much. What they saying ain't no fun when the rabbit got the gun.
The rabbit got the gun. It ain't no fun. But listen, we're gonna be right back. So listen, check this out. And this is gonna lead us into the second hour, and then it's gonna go into the practical application piece. Well, what does this mean for you though? Like how do you make sense out of this? Because this wasn't just about a political stance. It had nothing to do with the political stance. It had everything to do with people, the regular people, the everyday people. It has everything to do with us.
All right, I'm gonna play this video. Were you asking me that question, or are we going to the break?
No, this is a video, and that was more for just a thought process.
Oh, okay, here we go. Hold on. I've never heard this song before, guys.
I think it's time to watch the party die. The shit that got too wicked to apologize. It's different, get them whacked and disqualified. We even kill the killers cause they like taking innocent lives. Burn the whole village, we start over. It's really that time. Why reason with these niggas if they can't see the future first? Why argue with these clowns if the circus is well at work? Just walk that man down, that'll do everyone a solid. It's love, but tough love sometimes gotta result in violence. If you parading gluttony without giving truth to the youth, the graveyard is company. Just tell us what casket the Jews. They party more than bitches. Tell me, what are you working for? They glorify scamming, you get chipped over this credit card. Influencers talk down cause I'm not with the basic shit, but they don't hate me, they hate the man that I represent. The type of man that never did right cause I want a favor. The man that resides in patience. So where the soldiers at? The ones that lost it all and learned to learn from that. A thirst for life, head inside the book cause he concerned with that. Information that'll change his life because he yearns for that. Dedication, finding out what's right cause he can earn from that. I feel for the women that deal with the clown and nerd shit. Can't blame them, today they ain't really got much to work with. How many bitches harder than a lot of you niggas? Would trade all of y'all for nip, I can't be proud of you niggas. God give me life, dear God please give me peace. Dear God please keep these lame niggas away from me. Dear God keep me shining, the fuck do they really think? Pocket watching, you must be the police. God bless these words, dear God bless how I think. Dear God draw the line, they trying to confuse them with me. Dear God please forgive me, you knowing how hard I tried. I think it's time for me to watch the party die. Get them gone, we go watch the party die. Send them home, we go watch the party die. I think it's time to watch the party die. Street niggas and the corporate guys, the rappers that report the lies. I need their families mortified. We can do life without them, get their bodies organized. Tell me if you oblige. No more pillow talking, jump starting neighborhood wars. Dirty macking bitches because your spirit is insecure. The flashy nigga with nasty decisions, using money as a backbone. I want his head cracked before he's back home. The radio personality pushing propaganda for salary. Let me know when they turn up as a casualty. I want agony, assault and battery. I see a new earth filled with beautiful people making humanity work. Let's kill the followers that follow up on popping mollies from the obvious degenerates that's failing to acknowledge the hope that we trying to spread. If I'm not his vote, then you need to bring his fucking head or film that shit in high res. God give me life, dear God please give me peace. Dear God please keep these lame niggas away from me. Dear God keep me shining. The fuck do they really think? Pocket watching, you must be the police. God bless these words, dear God bless how I think. Dear God draw the line, they trying to confuse them with me. Dear God please forgive me, you knowing how hard I tried. I think it's time for me to watch the party die. Sometimes I wonder what Lecrae would do. Fuck these niggas up or show them just what prayer do. I wanna be empathetic, my heart like D1, but I will. It's time to get these devils out the way. Heavy metals on my sword, we settle hard disputes today. The ghetto Hollywood divorce, say hello to your future fate. The culture bred with carnivores, you let them snack, they eat your face. The signatures is being forged. They wonder why I'm not enthused to drop. The more visible you get, the more your spiritual is tried. It's cynical to say I know these artists petrified. The end result in jail by Jezebel, the drug up full of lies. Critical, I know my physical is tested all the time. I'm pitiful, sunk in place soon as I'm questioning my pride. I'm seeing ghosts, blacking out, relapsing one thought at a time. I spend no feelings that ain't mine. I'm in my feelings when I slide. I mean, a nigga wonder what Lecrae would do. Terrence Martin said I'm mentally with layers, true. I flood the market with my best regards. I paid your dues, and so it's up if you ain't one of ours. It's bad news. My nigga Jay Estrada said I gotta burn it down to build it up. That confirmation real as fuck. It ain't too many real as us. Locking into what I trust. Looking outside, the kids live tomorrow. Cause today the party just
the kids live tomorrow because the party just
Man, did you catch that? The line by line exposition of his standpoint on what his angle is. The angle is no longer we're not playing these games. We already know what this is. So what's the purpose of us continue going in the same route? I love that piece where he said the radio personalities that are just spreading propaganda for salary.
Mm-hmm.
And he's like, they need to go. And so you could take those words and say, well, why would he be talking about violence, or I don't really agree with violence of any sort. And that's fair to say. That's fair. When the shit's not on your doorstep, it's very fair to say.
Mm-hmm.
Because that same idea, you wouldn't have that same feeling if you was over there in fucking what's that place that everybody's sending money to and they beefing with Russia? What's that spot that's beefing with Russia right now?
Oh no.
Anyhow, truth. Who's beefing with Russia? That spot overseas anyway, or anywhere, right?
Mm-hmm.
They're dropping bombs on schools. They're dropping bombs in neighborhoods. Kids are being forced to now take up arms and fight for their safety, right? So it's
Right.
easy to say, oh, well, violence shouldn't be the answer.
Marianne said Ukraine.
Ukraine. Thank you, Marianne. Ukraine. It's easy to say that. But what people don't realize is that the people that he's speaking for are experiencing this every day.
Mm-hmm.
Their livelihoods are being challenged. Their integrity is being challenged. Their peace of mind is being challenged. And so it's easy on the outside when you're not affected by something to say, well, we should do this or should do that. But the reality is that's only because you're not experiencing it. But when you do, there comes a point where you have to draw the line.
Yeah.
And Kendrick Lamar, for all intents and purposes, is drawing the line. He's drawing the line in the music industry. He's drawing the line irrespective of what it is. I love the fact that he takes this opportunity because, listen, anytime the president shows up anywhere, you gon' know, right? Because he's got to do their security checks. They got to do all this other whoop-de-whoop, blase, blah. I'm not here to entertain. I'm not here to have these people sitting here wondering or acting, playing games with it, right? When you go into like the setup of the stage, and then you have all the X's, O's, the triangle, the square, right? Sony, the PlayStation. It's a game.
Yeah.
That's also a relation to Squid Games. Have you ever seen Squid Games?
I have.
Okay, so you know that the rich were sitting there and they were enjoying watching the poor fight over pennies, in essence, right?
Yeah, I mean that reminds me of Romans, the whole
Yeah, and then
gladiator.
also there's actually a great book series. My daughter is the one who hit me to this. So that's obviously what a good 17, well, no, probably 15 years ago or something like that. Maybe 12. But anyway, the point of what I'm saying is the Hunger Games series.
Mm-hmm.
And have you ever seen any of the Hunger Games movies?
Mm-hmm. I saw it.
Okay.
Is it more than one? I thought it was only one movie.
Yeah, it was literally like 3, but that's neither here nor there at this point. What was being described, and even in Kendrick's performance, was Squid Games, but which is also akin to Hunger Games. Because if you look at that, I have never watched Squid Games, right? But I've watched Hunger Games, and I actually like the storyline on that one. But they're very similar in the respect that the rich were sitting there profiting and enjoying watching the poor fight over scraps.
Mm-hmm.
And this is what we're seeing even now today. There are charts out there that I'm familiar with when it talks about the wealth distribution in the U.S. As a matter of fact, for those of you who are just curious about where this information comes from, if you go to YouTube and then you put in wealth distribution in America, what you will see will absolutely disturb you. When you consider what you thought you were doing wasn't shit. What you thought really was the case is not even close to being the case. The disparity between who has what is absolutely fucking atrocious. And there's no way you can say that this person works any harder than the rest of these people. It's not possible to say that. And so you have these people, you have us, right? We're all clamoring to climb up these little proverbial ladders, and we're trying to get our little higher little piece of the pie. And you know what's really fucked up, right? Is I thought that when I made 6 figures, I was doing all right, only to come to find out that even what I was making wasn't shit. But how? There was a time, and I remember there was a time when $50,000 was like an ideal salary you could take care of your family on $50,000 easy. How in the fuck did we get where 50 is base salary, entry level, and now but you got to be making 175, 250 to really have a sense of a quality of life?
Mm-hmm.
To where, and when I say that, as to where you're not worried about paying your mortgage. Even if you missed a check or two, your mortgage still gets paid.
Mm-hmm.
And 95% of us across the globe are living like that. 95% of us in the U.S., are living like that. And actually, the numbers are higher when you consider overseas, because cost of livings and all that stuff adjusted for inflation that's here, that's not experienced in certain places overseas. But if you look at it, right, the numbers are disturbing. It's absolutely disturbing. But we don't always know that it exists until things start happening at home. Like, we have this whole egg shit, and they're talking about the rise of prices. And I started thinking, I said, why would egg prices be a big issue? And when you consider that eggs are a baseline for a lot of our majority of our diets, other than those who might have some type of, like, biological issue where they can't eat eggs, or maybe they don't like it. Well, majority of us do. And most of the confections, most of the breads, all this other shit that we eat, right? It has a lot of those chemicals, those things in it. Well, even manipulating the prices to that, where this doesn't affect the people who are uberly wealthy, but it is aimed at us as the people who are just trying to survive, just trying to eke out a quality of life. And you cannot keep saying that, well, it's just because of this, that, and the third. I remember during the pandemic when the eggs went up again, and I remember hearing from I was watching something with the egg farmers, who the egg farmers were saying, we don't have a shortage. There's no shortage of eggs. Like, we're not the ones doing this shit. They doing that. Whoever they is, they the ones doing that. So you strategically fuck people over, and it's okay. And you go down the line, and we keep seeing it. And I don't think people pay attention to when that PPP shit came out, and don't even realize that we're still paying inflation rates from fucking 2020. And it doesn't even make sense. GDP did not decrease. There's no reason for this except for corporate greed.
Mm-hmm.
So again, right, you have all of these things that are taking place, and then you wonder why you see videos of people walking into grocery stores running out with baskets full of food. You wonder why you go to Walmart's or well, I think people are boycotting Target and shit like that. But you go into these stores, and do you know what really is really disturbing is, I go into it, you'll see things like soap, fucking toiletries behind a locked gate,
Mm-hmm.
toiletries and soap. So you're telling me that you have to lock up toiletries and soap, but everything is okay?
Right.
Because what that tells me is that the people are fucking struggling. Irrespective of if I am
Yeah,
personally,
they're not just stealing liquor, they stealing soap.
they're stealing
bathe.
soap to bathe,
Mm-hmm.
dish soap. They're stealing shit like wash soap to wash clothes. There's no markup on that.
Mm-hmm.
You can't push that on the street and make a profit.
Right.
It's not like they're taking that shit to make some new derivative of a drug. They're washing fucking clothes.
Mm-mm.
So no one sees the pain that people are experiencing. And so you want to be entertained all the while people are suffering every single day. And it's not just a few. There was a statement I heard back in the day, and it says that, how did it say this? It said, oh man, it was a good one too. But it was talking about how if the poor become hungry enough, they will eat the rich. And it was way that they said this, and what it describes is the reality that what happens when this gap continues to get further and further and further. And you look at some of the political moves that are happening right now, right? You got tax cuts that are benefiting the uberly rich, right? But the majority of the people, which make up what used to be called the middle class, is really not even the middle class anymore. So, because that whole distinction has been gone, because most of the quote unquote middle class, you're still living fucking check to check. That's not middle class.
Mm-hmm.
Middle class was denoted originally because you are in that space to where you had a buffer. So even your 75,000 that you make a year, that's not middle class. Because you miss a check, your shit is crumbling. That's a problem.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So all of us are sitting here and we're trying to clamor and climb up to get this little shit and to get our little 3% raises, which is fucking disgusting. 3%, but you're taxing me at 12.
Right.
What the fuck is my 3% gonna do? Oh well, I got another $75 in this check, and yeah, for people who and that's no disrespect to anybody because yeah, it does matter. It helps. I'm not addressing you. The issue is it's all this organizational bullshit that's coming down that we're having to sit and eat on a regular basis. We got to watch the party die, but then there has to be resurrected a new one. And I love that statement that he makes in that piece when he talks. I see a new humanity where people actually value fucking humanity. They value one another. And I want to say that might have been in the second verse. This is what we're facing. And it's not a doom and gloom, though, primarily because I believe that the answers are right in front of us, what we need to do. The answers are right here. And we talked about this about a year ago. I remember saying this about the whole idea of the nuclear family is a fucking fallacy. Baby formula, yes. Thank you, Marianne. Fucking baby formula. So nothing tells you that, hey, if I have to lock up this shit, maybe there's a problem that we need to address.
Mm-hmm.
Rather than, nah, fuck that. They just need to pay for it and not walk out. Well, what causes people to have to steal it? People will only... Here's a good note. During the Holocaust, which a lot of people are familiar with, but I don't know if they're familiar with this one particular thing that came out as a result of that. And you can look this up. While they were studying what was happening to people when they would, murder them, right? Not only were they studying that, they were also studying the effects of how you can manufacture what's called a ghetto. You know that term doesn't even come from here? That's not even an American term. Did you know that?
Ghetto?
Yeah. Ghetto is not an American.
I just know it's a manufactured term.
Mm-hmm. It's a term that has its and I'll tell you exactly where that term comes from, but it doesn't come from here. And that term actually came from over there because what they saw was, as a matter of fact, if you just look up the term ghetto, right? Even in the Oxford Dictionary, the second note that's going to say is the Jewish quarter in the city, which comes from over there when they were in Germany. The idea was that what they found is that you can manufacture the shit where people will then turn on each other. You can manufacture that. So then we ask ourselves and we wonder, well, why are have you ever thought about why is it that the MLK street in every fucking city is a ghetto? Have you ever wondered that?
I've noticed that, yeah. Well, it's in the black areas, yeah, which is ghetto.
It's a ghetto, and not the affluent black areas. Not the affluent black areas, because there are affluent black areas.
Mm-hmm.
But it's always centered in an area that is demarcated by shit that's in the ghetto. Liquor stores, check cashing, and the list goes on, right? Liquor stores and check cashing. You'll see very few, you'll see some grocery stores, but not like when you go into these other neighborhoods where, you have this grocery store, that type over here, You have things, you have schools, you have all these other little things, right? But in those areas, you never see those things. There's a reason for that, right? It's
Right.
because you can systematically create a ghetto. So all the shit that we're experiencing, majority of it has been created. It's not just natural. And I used to love that statement when people would make, it's like, oh, well, you know, poor people are like crabs in the basket, or you could say even black
Right
people,
in a bucket.
crabs in a bucket, right? And I used to hear that labeled to the black community in particular. And there was some truth to it, right? But you know
Mm-hmm.
what's fascinating? Well, I went to Hawaii, and this is in my 40s. Um, and I remember sitting on the beach, and I took a lot of videos of this, and I just watched crabs. And I just was sitting there, and they was popping up out the sand. So I'm looking at them, I'm recording them, and I'm fascinated by nature. But you know what was fascinating? What was even more fascinating about that was not one of them pulled each other down in any way, shape, form, or fashion. Well, why is that? Crabs don't pull each other down in their natural habitat.
Mm.
In their natural habitat, they give each other fucking space.
Mm-hmm.
And we operate within this community, but there's no reason for us to be in what's called a survival mindset. However, when you take those same crabs who are accustomed to having their own space, who are accustomed to having their own room, and you remove that from them and you place them in a foreign fucking environment, what you then see is you see the crabs begin to pull each other down, but it's not them pulling each other down. It's because they're in an unfamiliar environment. It's foreign to their being.
Mm-hmm.
What we see in neighborhoods, what we see in these communities is foreign to who they are. If people are given the opportunity to be who they need to be, they will. They can aspire to that. But we keep looking at these neighborhoods and say, well, niggas tear up their own shit. That shit is manufactured. And I'm not saying that the people involved don't have a level of responsibility, but what I am saying is that it's bigger than that.
Mm-hmm.
It's who put them in that space, who confined them to this. Goody Mob said something years ago in a song. It says, I wonder if the gates were put up to keep crime out or keep our ass in.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Like, I wonder how is this benefiting, right? And so you look at this performance, man, and it was inspiring to a degree. And for me in particular, like it's encouraging to see, because I know that there's coming a time. There's some tough shit that's coming ahead, but we got the cheat code. Kendrick made a comment in the fucking performance. Do you remember when he Sam Jackson says to him, "Oh, you got your homeboys with you." The
Mm-hmm.
cultural cheat code. Scorekeeper, deduct one life. You remember when he said that?
Yeah.
That's what he's talking about. Your power is in our work. That's why the whole idea of the nuclear family is gone. That's not us. And I mean us as in the people who are on this same social economic status. We cannot deceive ourselves and say, well, I'm a little bit better. The reality is that we are all in the same fucking bucket. And we have two options. We can keep looking across the shores of the surface of the bucket and saying, oh, well, they need to do better over there. They need to do better over there. Or we can really deal with the issue. Who the fuck put us here? Because that's the people we need to be focused on. Listen,
Right.
it's powerful. But go ahead, let's get to. We got another video we want to share. So we're going to share that so we can kind of keep this thing pushing.
Okay, here we go.
halftime show, this show didn't start with fireworks. It didn't have any flashy effects or a massive beat drop. It didn't have somebody flying from some string hovering around the whole crowd. No, it started with Kendrick Lamar standing in the street, rapping a cappella. Why? Because this is where every real rapper begins, on the streets, spitting bars raw. No music, no auto-tune, no gimmicks, just pure skill. The opening wasn't random. It was a statement in today's rap game. Lyrical ability doesn't matter like it used to. Now it's all about a catchy hook or a viral dance beat, but Kendrick, he's here to remind us rap is about content. It's about storytelling, and he is a true rapper. And that's just the first clue to the biggest protest in Super Bowl history, one that went right over most people's heads. But I'm here to break it down, and once you see the messages Kendrick left behind, you'll never look at this performance in the same way. Before Kendrick even touched the mic, the stage was already making a statement. The American flag wasn't made of fabric. It was built out of black people. A direct metaphor for how this country was built, literally on the back of
Look at all them dark-skinned black folks up there.
Now, right there, remember you said it was all black people.
All black people.
And he said it was built, America was built on the backs of blacks.
And look at that. Look at him in the middle. It's split. It's split. So not only do you have it being split, not only do you have every single one of them, and matter of fact, when they were bowing right here, if you listen to what's being said right there, it all applies. All of these movements, the movements that they were making, were all symbolic to what was actually being said. And I love the messaging that was in this because they all came out the GNX. And in essence, what he was really saying is that it's no longer just about, it's not me, it's us. It's not me as a performer, it's us as people. Because Sam Jackson alludes to the fact, oh, you got your homies with you. You got the people that came from the same soil as you. The people, and let me break it down even simpler, it's the people that speak the same language. The people who understand the same language. That's who you got with you. And you can apply this across so many levels. But I love this imagery right here because that one, it hit me heavy because I see the flag, but I also see that there's a split in the middle of said flag. And we know that this country was built by these people. But yeah, go ahead, continue. Come on, speak on it.
The symbolism doesn't stop there. Look at the shape of the stage. What do you see? It wasn't random. That was a tic-tac-toe board. Why? Because the system, this is all just a game. A game where the rules are rigged. A game where we are the entertainment. A game where black artists, athletes, and entertainers are used as pawns to keep the cycle going, to keep us dancing, to keep us distracted, to keep us from seeing the real,
to keep us dancing, Snoop,
power structures at play. And then there was this moment. Did you notice how Kendrick's dancers all piled out of a car like clowns? That wasn't just choreography. That was a clown car. That was imagery. It was intentional. The term clown car is often used in politics when you have a bunch of candidates with no real power, no real voice, all fighting for something they'll never control. That's exactly how the industry sees black artists. They prop up whoever they choose, make them compete against each other, and laugh while they fight for the crown that they'll truly never wear. This was Kendrick's way of exposing the truth. The industry is a joke, and we're the ones that are being played.
Come on.
Now let's talk about hidden messages. They were everywhere, and you probably didn't even notice. So I'm going to break a lot of these down for you right now. First, Samuel Jackson playing the role of Uncle Sam. He was warning Kendrick to play the game, just like his role in Django as the house slave. The stage was designed like a Squid Game arena, symbolizing the rich exploiting the poor. Dancers dressed red, white, and blue, literally representing America's dancing to the system's drum. The stage was also shaped like a PlayStation controller, a direct nod to how black culture is manipulated and controlled like a video game. Mark this moment. Kendrick surrounded by black men in a prison yard setting, all harmonizing as he rapped.
You said pause?
No, I said, come on, speak on it.
Oh.
This
speaking.
wasn't random. This was America's prison system disguised as entertainment. The system wants us dancing. The system wants us rapping. The system wants us in jail. But the system does not want us to wake up.
Come on.
And then we get the most important moment, the one that Uncle Sam was trying to make him forget, trying to keep him industry by doing songs with singers they not like us. This was not just a song, this was a warning and an exposed truth about the industry. But you know who else made a statement during this? Serena Williams. And y'all better not have missed this one. Serena Williams, one of the greatest athletes of all time, was crip walking during Kendrick's performance. Now let me break this down why this is bigger than just a dance. Serena was born in Michigan but raised in Compton, the same place as Kendrick Lamar. Serena and Drake dated in 2015, and that relationship inspired Drake's 2016 song, Too Good. In 2022, Drake dissed Serena's husband, Alex, calling him a groupie on the song Middle of the Ocean. Crip walking isn't just a dance. It's a symbol of claiming territory, sending a message. So what was Serena saying? Serena was dancing on Drake's grave. Now let's talk about what that means. Dancing on someone's grave is a phase that means celebrating their downfall. Serena, in that moment, was showing the world Drake is done. His reign is over. The system that propped him up is crumbling, and she's not mourning. She's celebrating. Let us
Hold on.
Also, another
Hold on.
Another point on that was
there's some shit on that one.
Yeah, she put up a post I saw on her Instagram, Serena did. And she said that for her it was about when she won at Wimbledon and when she was younger, when she won her biggest, I guess that was her very first main event, and she won at Wimbledon. Is it Wimbledon?
Mm-hmm.
And she did the crip walk, and they talked about her so bad that it overshadowed her win.
Yeah.
And that was, she said, I'll be more than happy to crip walk on the biggest sports stage ever. Basically to, spit in their face. Like, you talk shit about me crip walking years ago when I was younger. I'm a crip walk on your ass now. So we could look at it both ways. What were you going to say?
Well,
That's what she said. That's what she said.
No. And actually, what's interesting is I remember when that happened. And when because I followed her and her sister, as a matter of fact, just, usually athletes that stood out, right? And then obviously being with Auntie in Compton, she talked about her because she took us to the court they used to practice at. This is back when they were young. Because they weren't that much older they're not that much older than us, actually, as a matter of fact. I think they're about the same age as you, right?
Who?
They're about your age.
Who?
Venus and Serena.
Oh, I don't know. That's a good question. But
they're about your age. So I remember, Auntie she took me over there to her park because she knew about them, and even when they were young.
Serena's 38, so she's 10 years younger than me. Hey Siri, how old is Venus?
About 4.6 billion years.
Oh Lord, you heard that?
Well, Venus is a planet.
You right. I think he said 4.
Hey, it would have been wild if they just went right to her, though. That would have been wild.
Funny. Okay, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Okay, so the other thing that I think was significant about that, and so again, this whole performance wasn't just about Drake, but what it did have something to say is about when you are able to give a platform, right? she being from Compton, that is a form of expression. She's not saying that, hey, I'm glorifying being a Crip. It had nothing to do with that, right? Because by the time she did that, it had already started hitting the mainstream Black culture anyway, as a dance. It represents being from this area. But here's what was fascinating. Kendrick on the like she said, on the biggest stage in the country, she was given the opportunity that this other stage did not offer her. And you weren't welcome. And again, it ties into this messaging that you're only here to perform. You're not here. You're only here to entertain. That's all I want from you. Entertain.
Right. That's why that Snoop shit made me so irritated.
Yes.
It's not just Snoop. Again, just like with Drake, it's they're pawns. And they're not the only ones. A lot of us do it. I mean, I'm sure I do it too. I mean, to some degree.
Well,
but
you gotta think about it. What? So like let's keep it a buck.
People do shit for money. I mean, even when we were talking about, we were playing that game, and Yogi had mentioned he would do something for money.
Yeah.
And he asked you, and you said, I'm the wrong one to ask, because you're talking to somebody who gave up a whole bunch of money on principle. So don't ask me that. Remember it off rip. You were like, I ain't the one, nigga.
Nah,
you can't.
I
ain't selling out.
I'm not gonna tap dance. Like
right.
My principles, my morals, they matter to me.
Right.
So when you get into her being on that stage, doing that, and the representation. So yeah, you could go the whole Drake angle and all that stuff, because there's a part of that could be there. But I'm gonna tell you, excuse me, to me, it just was much bigger than that. Because I saw what happened to her during Wimbledon. I saw the backlash that she got. I heard the stories about her being too masculine.
Right.
About her being too strong, too big than the other players that were out there.
Yep.
I heard the fact that they demonized her femininity. And this is the same media that wanted to prop her up at one time. And then when she started winning all the time, oh, well, she's a problem. And it's no different than what's happening with LeBron James or anybody who's significant.
They're cool with it as long as you playing according to their rules. Like they said, like Samuel, like he just said about
you catching it. You in there.
Right.
You in there. So not only does she get that opportunity, but then she stands there boldly and unapologetically. Unapologetically.
Yep.
Like,
and she was so excited. She being Serena was on live right before the performance. She was on her Snapchat or something. She was somewhere live. And she was so excited about the performance. And afterwards, she was even more hyped. She was like, I did that shit or something. She was like, yeah. And her daughter was there and her husband, the same husband. Drake is clowning or, talking about he's a groupie and all that. And I remember even being like irritated that she was with a white man. You know what I'm saying? I didn't know that she dated him and Drake at the same time and all that. I wasn't following that close. I didn't know nothing about. I just read about all this shit. But
yeah,
I was irritated with the fact that she wasn't with a black man and all this and that. And now in retrospect, it's like, okay, well, would you rather her be with Drake if you consider him to be black? And look how he's acting. Like she's with who the fuck she wants to be with, but she obviously is still standing on her shit. She's standing on her shit and she's still repping. This is just who she fell in love with. Period. But it don't take away from how black she is. Like I'm getting it. You know what I'm saying? That doesn't make you more black because you're with a black person. I mean, I know Umar, my son loves Umar, and and I know how he thinks, and I get it. I understand part of that too. I do. I get all of it. I really do, depending on how the wind blows. But at the end of the day, you got to stand for something or fall for anything. So I want to finish this off because I want to get to, before we go, we got 15 minutes. get to the practical application, you know.
Yes.
So let me finish this. Here's DJ Mustard.
All be clear. This wasn't just about America. This was a direct shot at Drake, the man who has been used by the system to taint hip-hop, to push the toxic agenda Malcolm X warned us about. Drake.
The toxic agenda that Malcolm X warned us about?
I really
Tell
wish.
me about that.
I really wish he would have gone into that.
Tell me about that.
If you listen to what, and again, you got to remember these things are coming from time frames, right? And we're not all aware of that. Just like Gil Heron Scott Pease, like all the shit that he was talking about in the 70s that our parents knew about, and they were fully aware of the stuff that was going on with people like this. Malcolm X in particular, plenty of statements where he mentioned, like, and one in particular was really good. He said, you would expect me to open my doors to the wolves in the hope that maybe one of them is a wolf in sheep's clothing. I'm sorry, the sheep, and maybe one of them is only the wolf. He said, but the problem is that when it comes masqueraded as this, he said, I don't have a choice but to assume that any of them could be that. And he said, and that's not a problem that I created. That's the problem of those that wear this covering. And what he was getting into, and again, that's just a portion of it, right? If you listen to a lot of things that Malcolm X was saying, and let me say this too, because we had another conversation about MLK and Malcolm X, and I remember for years I had problems with. I thought that they were at odds. I honestly thought they were. But what I found out was listening to what they said towards the end of both of their lives, their policies and philosophies began to actually merge. They weren't as far off because, again, MLK said, we're going to do this thing by peace and we're going to go by the rules. Malcolm X says, hey, well, look, by any means necessary, we'll go by the rules if it's going to work, but if not, then let's find another option.
Switch it up, right?
But both of them, towards the end of their lives, unfortunately, or fortunately, actually, their policies began to really align because we've already seen how this tape plays out. And I love MLK's statement when he says, my fear is that I've basically ushered my people into a burning building.
Oh, he said that.
Yeah, towards the end, right? But he was talking about integration and he's talking about all the shit because what people didn't realize, I had an opportunity to talk to some people that were alive during that time and saw what happened and was there. Do you know what I found out from quite a few different people? And then even doing some different research and study on this, Black people weren't trying to integrate. That was not their thing. They already had schools. They already had this shit set up. The only issue that they had was that they didn't have access to material that was necessary, right? Because again, they're using the old version of textbooks and stuff like that. That's what they needed. The whole notion behind, and this could be a whole nother podcast topic, but the whole notion behind integration and what happened as a result, oh, that shit was devastating. That was devastating for the Black community. And MLK alluded to that towards the end of his life. And it's interesting when you consider the timing. Because towards the end of his life, he makes this statement. Mind you, he doesn't know it's the end of his life. He just makes the statement. Well, no, that's the thing. The turn the other cheek agenda, the whole 9 yards, right? But all of this. So there is a point to be made about the specifics of that. So that's not in question. That is absolutely right. but we're talking about the notion behind the system, because you cannot separate one from the other. Because again, what are you dealing with? Because in other talks, he talks about specifically talks about the system and how the system is sick, and how the system in particular values one thing over the next. And it wasn't specifically talking about blacks, but what he was talking about was their value of money. That's all that mattered to them. So you take all of that in light of what the statement is being made, and all of that still applies. And so because you can take and again, so that's not to take it out of context. The context, yes, that is absolutely correct. However, the broader context involves all of that. So that's a distinction that I definitely should make. It's the broader context of his statements, because he specifically started talking about how what he was noticing with the system, the whole 9 yards. And again, these things are the same things that we're still dealing with today. And so then you listen to MLK, you listen to Malcolm X, and you hear, well, what are they railing against? And people kind of get it mixed up, and they think it's just white versus black. That's not what the issue is. But when you have a group that stands in the position that holds your liberties and your freedoms against you, well, you got to call a spade a spade. There's no other way to deal with that. We're not dealing with an alien, if you will. Or maybe we are in some cases, but I digress. That's neither here nor there. But so that's the context of what I'm saying in that respect. But to me, their policies began to become more aligned, which I believe that's where the threat comes in at, because they had the ear of the people.
Yeah.
And between him, MLK, him being MLK, Malcolm X, and JFK, shit. You can't tell me that shit wasn't connected. You can't tell me that wasn't connected. These people in particular, these people were aimed at ushering in a whole new movement, and it wasn't going to be accepted. Do I believe that old boy shot him from the grassy knoll? Fuck no. I don't believe that shit. I don't believe that for several reasons. One in particular is that the angle of entry does not match where the fuck that dude was at.
Well, let's get back to the video. You about to go down another.
Yeah, I'm about to go down a motherfucking
I know you about to go down
hole.
another path. Let me finish this video. Hold on.
Is the industry's golden boy. He's been protected, pushed to the top, allowed to degrade women, push violence, and spread a message that keeps the culture in a cycle of destruction. Meanwhile, Kendrick has to fight for every inch of respect. And that's what he does. Kendrick says to all of them, game over.
Game.
And that was his final message. It's time to wake up. The system has had control for too long. But will you, the people, will you see it now? This was the most important Super Bowl halftime show in history. And if you thought that was boring, that's just what the system wants you to think.
Right.
And that means the system has worked on you. This is the wake-up call. Will you be the one to answer? And if you like the way I do it, will you please thumb?
I love that breakdown. I'm gonna stop sharing. Okay. The public files say it was multiple shooters. Okay, so look, but yeah, so that goes into when we talk about application. At the end of the day, I consider myself sleep for the most part, and sleep on purpose, I guess. To be honest,
I really fucks with that. I fucks with you for that.
Yeah, because I'm not stupid by a long shot. I just have always chosen to not really pay too much attention or give it too much credence. Is that the right word?
Mm-hmm.
But I feel like my son, and I hate to use the word woke, but I'm just gonna use it for lack of a better word. But my son is more woke than me, if you want to put it that way. And he'll be 27 in 2 weeks. Okay, and honestly, he's very, very smart. Okay, and he reads and he's aware, right? So I'll find myself asking him shit, or he'll be not even asking, but he'll tell me shit. He'd be like, Mom, do you want to hear this or not? Because he knows Jason knows I'll space out and be like, you be like, when real important shit is being said, you'll lose me and shit. But I really do try to keep up.
There is no lie to that.
Right. And my son will be like, Mom, are you still there? Do you really want to know? I'll be like, okay. Sometimes I'll say yes, and other times I'll be like, no. But no, but this comes down to, and this is for me, you guys always know, it has to be a takeaway. And this is not to say this is the end of a discussion, but just like Kendrick Lamar's performance, it is simply a wake-up call. And it's almost like a blessing in disguise, I feel like, because, one thing that we all we can agree on, and not even just Black people, but the average working class American, is that we have a tyrant who is in power, okay, or an illusion of power that we give them, right? So we can all agree on that, and sometimes it only takes people to have some type of something to agree on as a base to now use it to catapult in the right direction. And so I think that for me, my takeaway is be willing, and this is me talking to myself, be willing to listen. Be willing to, that's what I did most of this podcast, okay, is listen. And I'm still there. I mean, none of us know it all, right? But I'm really, far off. I got a lot to learn. And no, I'm not a militant. No, I'm not going to go I'm not going to be out there. I'm not going to do nothing crazy. But for me, and I hate to even say crazy, because is it really crazy? It's just we're programmed a certain way. And when you're indoctrinated and taught, and this goes for anything, when something from the time you are born is fed to you, it's all you know, that is a cycle that is hard to break. It is hard to get past. And a person has to want to get past it. And I think as Black people and as a community, that's where it's the hardest part, because every generation there's somebody like a MLK, an activist, or you just, who was the person you just talked about earlier? I never heard of him. I said I want to watch that PBS special. I don't even know who that is. And it's sad. I'm going to ask my son if he knows who it is. But I really do want to revisit and look at that with the podcast. And you watch, I mean, I don't know. I've said on my show before we had the podcast on my live, and watched some old fucking bullshit, reacted to some bullshit. What was that show about the lesbians? Remember, I sat up here and had these motherfuckers watching that shit for an hour, and we reacted to that. So we can react to some other shit too and learn something. I mean,
his name is Gil Scott Heron. That's the guy you're talking about.
Yeah, okay.
And he's relevant, obviously. He's a poet and things of that nature. He's really relevant because Kendrick highlighted him by using that particular statement.
He said we were invading Gaza while he was performing. Oh, so we're talking about when they
smoke and mirrors type shit. Yeah.
What they call
distraction. And that's probably has something to do with why the guy one of the dancers had a flag running around with the Sudanese flag and what's taking place over there. And I have my own stance on that. I think a lot of the shit that we do overseas is bullshit. I don't trust shit that we do ever, ever, in ever. Primarily because we have too long of a track record. And if you go back to when we invaded, where was Saddam Hussein at? That wasn't Saudi Arabia. It might have been Saudi Arabia.
Wait, where was that?
Was Saddam Hussein?
Yes, Saddam Hussein.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. It was Iran or something? Wasn't it? I don't know. It was over there somewhere. Somebody knows in here. Just write it in the comment.
Yeah. So just like how we did that, well, what was interesting about that was under the guise of dealing with Afghanistan, right? Because you remember this happened before Osama bin Laden got hemmed up. We had already started that shit with them, right? Because again, we blame them for the Twin Towers,
right?
Which I do not believe
somebody to blame.
Yeah, I don't believe that was them. I don't believe that, not because I listened.
That was some domestic terrorism.
Yeah, man, it was us. We did that shit, man. We did that shit based on how that fucking building crumbled. And I can show you a video right now of when they crumbled the Georgia Dome. Look up the Georgia Dome if you want to see something. And this is not the only example of this, but just look it up. Now, I know the Georgia Dome because I used to live in Georgia, and I used to be there. I saw how they imploded the Georgia Dome, right? I know what's around the Georgia Dome. There are buildings, there's people, there's all kinds of shit. It's in the middle. It's a very congested area. It's not an open field. There's nothing like that, right? You imploded that motherfucker. You imploded it and caused that motherfucker to fall right in space, right in line. And tell me why that's the same thing that those motherfucking buildings did. You cannot tell me that something is built as tall as it was built, knowing that the only things that could fuck with it is something flying into it. So an engineer designs those towers specifically for what things can happen. An earthquake, something flying into this motherfucker. Those are the only things that can happen up here.
It's something flying, right?
Like straight up, like that's what safety engineers design it specifically to withstand if some shit hit it. You gonna tell me that a fucking plane hits it and that motherfucker implodes perfectly? You cannot tell me that shit. And now it's okay if you want to believe that, that's fine, but that is not the truth because that does not happen. That motherfucker didn't lean at all, but the motherfucker imploded perfectly and there was nothing left but rubble. Nah. So you cannot tell me that shit happened, and that's not no Afghanistan bullshit. That was us. Now, we playing checkers, them niggas is playing chess. It is what it is, right?
Mm-hmm.
But here's the reality. Right after that, what do we do? Oh, it's these niggas in Afghanistan, right?
Mm-hmm.
But we already know that Osama bin Laden had property here in fucking Florida. He was up here, and he was just over here with fucking Bush. Not long before that shit happened. So then you're going to tell me that they did that shit. And then somehow you're going to go over there and start fucking with Saddam Hussein? Now, this is during Bush's
Saddam, didn't they find him down in the ground?
A fucking hole in the house, right?
So he didn't do nothing.
Well,
Saddam,
no,
not that he didn't do nothing, but.
They had issues with him, but here's the thing, though. What did he have? That nigga had oil, right? What is Bush family rich in and wealthy in?
Right.
Oil. So now we got control over the shit. It was his interest. Mm-hmm. So again, and now have we seen? Has that been passed down to us as American people that we're not paying high gas prices? No, we're still fucking paying high gas prices. Again, it's always this fucking smoke and mirror shit that they do. So Yes. Oh, it's always something constant where we are involved in some bullshit and we're taking advantage of something because that is what we have seen. That is what they do. It is not aimed for you. And I give you this, and I'm going to close. If it were aimed at your benefit, then healthcare would not be killing people every day. People would technically be able to afford healthcare in this country. But the fact that
That's
they
so
can't.
sad. It's so depressing. I mean, it's so sad because it's like, it's so sad when we think about that because there's so many people and people I even know personally. I mean, not including my son doesn't even have health care. Now he's 27-year-old cancer survivor
Listen,
with no health care.
Scripture
Thank
says
God he's young and he's healthy now, but it's like that should not be the case in this country.
it
There's no
shouldn't be.
way.
It shouldn't be.
I
We're
talk
supposed
to
to be the
people
wealthiest
every day in pharmacy who can't afford their insulin, shit that they could die from.
Yeah, yeah. Well, you got to call the people. So there's always been, and there has been this whole notion. If you want to look that shit up, you can look up Bill Gates and his statements on the fact that the population is too high. They have to cull the fucking herd. That is what they're doing, and that's what they've always been a part of. It's not something new. This shit has been happening. I'm still pissed off about some of the bullshit that I subjected myself to, but I did that, and I'm gonna have to just deal with it. But I'll tell y'all this: I developed a fucking what's that shit called? What is that shit called? I developed a blood clot, right, in my lungs. My doctor told me. He said, so he knows my grandfather. He's treated my grandmother. He's treated my dad. He's treated my sister. And he tells me, you don't have a genetic marker for this, right? I know your family medical history. My sister had blood clots, right? He tells me, he says, and he looks at me, he has this kind of shake, he just kind of shakes his head. And he's like, the only correlation is the fact that you took that COVID shot. So my sister's blood clots was pretty bad, right? It sent her to the ER. He did some imaging on my shit and says, man, he says, I can see scarring. You had a blood clot. It's not there now, but we have to be mindful that you could get blood clots. And, and we all know this. If you don't know, blood clots are fatal. Because if that shit moves and moves in the wrong direction, that could be it, right?
Yeah.
So he tells me, he said it was fucking COVID, the COVID shot. That's the only correlation. That could be the same because it's not a genetic marker. It's not hereditary. So again, here's some bullshit I subjected myself to. I took the motherfucking shot when I shouldn't have took that bitch. And I knew that. Listen, we have so many things that we're coming aware of. That Monsanto piece, She Rained Storm, yes. People don't even realize what the fuck they're doing with that, how that's fucking up farmers, because those genetically modified seeds, if they find any seed on your property, in your crop, that's traced back to that, then you can lose all your shit.
If it's traced back to GMO?
To GMO. And it's not on something we're trying to protect the people. What it is that they're trying to control all of the fucking produce.
Mm-hmm.
So if you can theoretically, right?
Mm-hmm.
Hypothetically, you could take a handful of seeds, toss them motherfuckers over somebody's fence into their yard.
Mm-hmm.
If they harvest that shit and some of your seeds is in there, because again, these GMO seeds, then what they do is they can snatch that whole crop. Look up how that shit's been fucking up farmers. That Monsanto shit. So again, we have a lot of this shit that's happening in this country that most people are just not aware of, that's taking place. So you cannot tell me they have your best interest at heart. That's all I'm really saying. The answer, though, I believe that the answer is that people are going to have to go back to their roots. The answer is going to be us coming together rather than us staying separated and being individualized. That has been the trick of the enemy from the whole time.
Keeping
I'll give
us,
you this too.
keeping us
Scripture
simple.
even says, "I've given the leaves of the trees for the healing of the people." Everything. Did you know that aspirin actually comes from a fucking plant? Did you know that? I found that shit out. I went to a farm here in Nevada and found out that the early settlers that were here, the natives that were already here in this area, used a plant. I saw the plant. We actually tasted the plant. He said that's where aspirin comes from. And it was some other common medicine that we use. And I'm like, get the fuck out of here. Like all this shit comes from plants. What they did
Right.
was they manipulated it, manufactured it, wooty wooty wooty
And
woo,
sell it.
and sell it, right? So they can corner the market on it. Why do you think marijuana is not legal across the country? Why do you think it's only legal in certain areas? And a lot of that shit is new because they couldn't get
It ain't even the same marijuana. Now it's all
It's not.
fucked up.
It's all fucked up. It's
Now
been
it's
played
all
with,
fucked up.
manipulated.
It ain't even natural no more.
It's not natural.
Mm-mm.
And you can talk to old school smokers who've been smoking since the 70s. It ain't like there wasn't good weed. There's always been good weed, but it's a different. Like this shit is on.
Yeah,
This shit
this
is different.
is some more way out shit.
Yeah. So
I'll tell you this. Talking about you mean how they manipulate us, and again, I stay sleep on purpose. Sometimes.
hey, Marianne, I agree with you. I know several people that had strokes as a relationship to, and the correlation was the fucking COVID shot,
Mm.
the vaccine.
I got these Ray-Bans. My husband bought me the new AI Ray-Bans, the Meta. So I'm gonna put my prescription in. I wanted them so bad, right? And on the box, they got a stamp on it, a little sticker, and it's California made them put the sticker on there. You know, by state, but that it could cause cancer and something else. It's a warning on the back of the Ray-Ban Meta, the new AI glasses. And I told my husband, I'm gonna sit up here and wear them anyway. See what I'm saying? But the fact that this shit, because half the time they don't tell you the shit we putting in our bodies and doing and all that shit is fucked up. They don't even tell you. Now they put the sticker on there and you still gonna buy them and wear them anyway. See what I'm saying?
They do the shit for panties. Did you know that some of y'all panties be giving y'all some fucking problems?
Yeah, I heard that too.
Just
and then also your cell phone. Remember they tell me don't put the cell phone to your face and all that. I sleep with my cell phone under my pillow. Now, I know that ain't right because I like the sound. I like to go to sleep to the noise, the white noise. But I slide it under my pillow. See what I'm saying? Like, I don't know. Anyway, we could talk about look at Storm and for sure, Jason. But yeah, I don't know. I mean, you want to close it out?
Listen. I'm gonna say this, man.
The wife has some what panties?
No, them glasses probably.
Oh, the glasses.
That's what I would think.
Okay.
I would think that's what he's talking about.
Oh.
But listen, y'all, we got to get out this individualized bullshit.
Oh, look, at Storm appreciates the space for real. Thank you, Storm.
We got to get away from that, and I mean this shit from my heart, my soul to yours. The longer we stay separated on this bullshit, we're not dealing with the real issue, and we're not dealing with the people that's behind that. So this whole idea, this nuclear family, I can't trust people, all that shit, man, that shit's gonna have to fly because the real motherfuckers you can't trust is the motherfuckers that put us in this shit and who benefiting from it. And I'll just say this back to the Kendrick performance. What a lot of people don't even realize, and I don't even know if it's still widely known or talked about as much as it should be, is that prisons are private. Private. Do you know what the baseline of a private corporation is for? What's the baseline of a private corporation? Do you know what a private corporation's whole goal is?
Is to what? Keep the rich rich and the poor poor?
Private
What?
corporations' goal is to make money.
Oh,
So,
okay.
if you privatize motherfucking prisons, their interest, they make money by people being in the motherfuckers.
Mm-hmm.
Period. So that means that them and their benefactors, the people who have invested in prisons, only can see profit when prisons are full, which
Right, which
means that
affects
we
the
have to create
laws.
laws, we
Mm-hmm.
have to create systems, we have to get people. And then you got to ask yourself, so then is there a mistake as to why majority of prisons are full with black people? When you consider that black people don't even make up majority of the crimes committed in this country. Y'all got to wake the fuck up. You got to wake the fuck up because the shits were staring us right in the face. You go look up at across the population who is responsible for committing majority of the crimes, and you're going to be surprised to see the demographic that's responsible. But however, the demographic that you're going to see in prison is totally different. Why is that? Why are prisons overflowing with blacks and browns? Why? When they don't make up the majority of the crimes committed. This shit is not an accident. It's not a mistake. It's not, oh, it just happened. No, the shit is manufactured. The sooner we wake up to the fact that all this shit is manufactured, the better off we'll be. I thank God for what we're seeing right now playing out in front of our eyes.
What the whole shit with Trump?
Everything. All this shit. The fact that the stuff that's about to be exposed, the stuff that's being taken over, the stuff that's being ignored, overruled, all that shit. All this bullshit that we're seeing. And again, you made a good statement earlier, but I'm going to say this to that point, and your statement was something along the lines of, you know, the people just kind of have to how did you say this? You said when it came to politics, I can't think of how you said this, but you
Who,
made a
me?
good you made a good point. And I was like, oh yeah, I said, but there's only one caveat or a nuance to that, is that it ain't yet. It's gonna have to get worse before it gets better.
Mm-hmm.
Because you have far too many people that are still on the fence that don't really believe what they're seeing. Now, again, goes back to the statement earlier. It's easy for me to have my certain feelings about violence or whatever the case may be when it doesn't affect me. Once this shit starts spilling over and affecting the majority of people, and there won't be any excuse for it. That's when that's when I believe we'll start to see change on the grassroots level. In the meantime, this is my stance, and you can quote me on this. I believe that the answer to all this shit is collaboration and connection. I honestly believe that. I believe that that's what we need to get back to, is our roots, and get back to understanding what real community is, and then start working to become insulated as a
And that
community.
goes to what Farrakhan said. He said that um you know that music and rap, you know, is gonna be it's gonna be up to the artist, but that's how we communicate. That's
Yeah.
how we get down. Like it holds more weight than somebody just standing up there preaching and talking. Like that might work with my grandmother and them, going to church and hear somebody stand in the pulpit and talk. But with the youngsters nowadays, and not even the youngsters, I mean, even me, I don't go to church. I mean, so I listen to music, but again, everybody's different. Again, and also, the whole saying about put it in a book so black people won't see it. That's another thing. We don't read. And listen, I don't read. I know how to read, but I don't. Okay, I've just now started trying.
She said, "Let's make the distinction."
Yeah, I know. I just don't.
I just
But
don't.
shit has to be interesting for me, and shit has to be broken down to the smallest molecule, and that's I'm just like that. It has to make it make sense. So anyway, we got a lot to do, a long way to go. But it's got to start somewhere, and I'm okay with having these kind of discussions. I think these discussions, my attention span is very short, so it has to make sense along the way for me. But I can't use that as an excuse not to engage in these conversations because they're just that important.
Yeah.
I don't have to be a Malcolm X or MLK, but you got to know something. You gotta know something. I don't know.
Well, I'll say this: if you lean into what it is that makes you tick, and so there are things that just stand out to us, and I'm a firm believer in, rather than me trying to force myself to accept what doesn't, I lean into the things that do, and the frequency of which the things that do. So those are the type of things that usually catch my attention, and I become excellent in whatever it is. I'll give you a good one. This was from I want to say the book of Ephesians, and I was looking at this, and it says this. It says this is Ephesians 4. And I was reading this earlier, as a matter of fact, but he says, Ephesians 4:11, it says, and he gave some apostles and some prophets and some evangelists and some pastors and teachers. Verse 12 says, for the perfecting of the saints, for the work of the ministry, for the edifying of the body of Christ. What's fascinating about that is this. The idea that's being proposed is that we all have different offices, if you will, right? Some of us are mouthpieces. Some of us are designed to be the Malcolm X's. Some of us are designed to be those that might pen some letters. Some of us are designed to be those that might stand out on a corner or do some shit or whatever the case may be. It doesn't matter. You take up, this is what I would say from a Christological standpoint, is you take up your cross. Taking up your cross in essence means it's you walking in your passion. From an everyday standpoint, I would say, right, you've gotta understand what your purpose is. What is your design?
Mm-hmm.
I believe in being destined by design, which means that there is something that I am specifically tailored for. I am. Whoever, and it's all of us, whatever it is. You might be fucking tailored to work with kids. That's fucking okay. Work with the little niggas then.
Yeah.
Right? Because you're gonna know, because it just registers. And you and I have had this conversation about you. You have a way with people. Mm-hmm. Even though you say, I don't really, whatever, but you have a way with them. And people, the shit you say registers for people. Mm-hmm. That's a telltale. Right? You have a gift there. So rather than me trying to recreate a fucking wheel, lean into that shit.
Right.
Irrespective of the fear, irrespective of, I don't know if I'm qualified, or I don't know if woo, blase, blah, whatever. It doesn't matter. Mm-hmm. Right? That's how you know. When we all get engaged in leaning into what we are gifted in, you cannot fucking tell me that in the years that you've been here that you are not excellent at something.
Yeah.
You cannot fucking tell me that. Mm-hmm. There's a great book out there. If you want a chance to read it, I take intellectual liberty with this. The book is called Outliers. I think it's a wonderful read. There's a section in there where he talks about success, and he talks about how a success principle. And he says in this book, he says from his research that he finds that people who are uberly successful right? This is one characteristic of them, that they have devoted over 10,000 hours to something. Now, here's how I take that and I extrapolate that across the life spectrum. 10,000 hours equates to less than 2 years of you being focused on a subject. So you cannot tell me that if you are 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, that you are not excellent and have mastered a variety of fucking things. You cannot tell me that you haven't. But what you can do is you can tell me that you may not be aware of what those things are. Because most of our conditioning is focused on us always looking outside rather than looking within.
Right, that's true.
The conditioning is, I don't fit that. And I say to that, you're not supposed to fit that.
And one thing I will say is now Jason will tell you what to read because he reads. I'm gonna tell you what to watch. Watch this movie called The 6888. I don't know if you guys have seen that on Netflix. The 6888 about the black women in the military back in the day. That I watched that movie and it made me cry. Now I don't cry a lot, especially not, but that movie, it was so powerful to me. And then it wasn't even just about color, although I am a black woman, so it did speak to that part. But it was just about it was powerful, which is very powerful how this small group of women made such a big difference in our history. And we didn't even know these women existed until recently. And that's because of Tyler Perry. And Oprah was in it. And y'all could talk about Tyler and Oprah all day long. But if it wasn't for Tyler picking up this story and interviewing, even at the end, these women are 90 years old. He had them at the end of the movie. Okay? These are women that made a difference. Black women who made a difference at a time when even white women didn't have a voice. You see what I'm saying? So all I'm saying to that is that sometimes we get ahead of ourselves and you feel like things are, and then I'm talking to myself here. Things are just so much bigger. I've said this before, like what difference is it going to make? You get stuck right there. You get stuck right there. Well, what difference am I going to make? What difference is me doing this going to make to the bigger picture? And to Jason's point, it's a collective. So if I do one little thing and he does
speak on it,
you guys do one little thing, we all do one little thing, that's the whole point. It's gonna take a group effort, but it has to start somewhere. And whatever that is for you, you got to figure that part out. And that to me, that's where meditation, prayer, reading, surrounding yourself with people of like mind that think the same, that and then allow your actions to speak for you. You don't have to go around carrying a torch and trying to convert people. Let your actions speak for you. Yeah. But walk in your shit, walk in your truth, walk in your purpose, and then it will speak for you. But use your energy to find your purpose, to find your tribe, to find what you need in order to be strong, right? So you step into your shit, you, like Jason says, you lean into it, and then you just go all the way, and then fuck it, and let the chip fall where they may. Don't focus on the outcome. Because that's where you'll get fucked up. That's how I look at my sobriety. I don't focus on
tomorrow.
I can't because I'll get so overwhelmed. I'll have a fucking drink. I'm focused on right now. When I get off this podcast, I'm not gonna have alcohol. I'm gonna go make me a smoothie.
Listen, that's success right there, because the reality is I can't control tomorrow, but what I can do is every fucking moment. So the moments that I have, right, I win the moments. And so, it may seem like it's a Herculean task, right? But here's the beauty of the idea of time and the misconceptions associated with time. Time is not what we think it is. And when it comes to the spiritual realm in particular, there is no time. So the idea of, well, I've been like this my whole life means absolutely fucking nothing.
Yeah.
Make the fucking change now. If you just make the slight adjustment to your trajectory, I guarantee you it becomes so open to you that it encourages you to do the next thing, and then encourages to you to do the next thing. And then you begin to follow the pathway.
Hi,
And
Robin.
so that is the encouragement for the people in particular, because you are far more powerful than what you believe.
Yeah.
You're far more powerful, and you can affect far more things than what you ever thought possible. And it doesn't take the Herculean effort. You don't have to be the most articulate. You don't have to be the best looking. You don't have to be the tallest. You don't have to be the shortest. You don't have to be the best dressed. You don't have to be any of that shit. None of that superficial shit actually matters when it comes to you having effect and impact. And so whatever your office is, whether you are the person that writes, whether you're the person that speaks, whether you're the person that sees and informs, whether you're the person that plots and plans, whether you're the person that just puts your hands in the dirt, it doesn't matter what it is.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's the part that we miss so often, is that every fucking, like, you need, I'll give you this, and I'll say this and I'll close. I have a whole ass body that's got all these different body parts. The most insignificant body part that I can say, honestly, that I have used to be my toe, and my pinky toe at that. What the fuck does a pinky toe do? It ain't the big toe. It ain't the other ones in between. It ain't my kneecap, my thigh, my fucking ankles. It ain't my hips. It's not my hands, my fingertips. It ain't none of that shit, right? It's the fucking pinky toe. Why in the fuck do I need a pinky toe? Until that motherfucker was hurting. And when I tell you that one little pinky toe, although seems insignificant, disrupted everything I had going on, from psychological to emotional to physical. When I tell you that one pinky toe said, shit, you don't take care of me, I'll shut this whole motherfucker down.
Right.
Hey, listen. After that date, I said, you know what? Pinky toes matter. So,
right. Pinky toes matter.
Pinky toes matter.
Thank
so
you,
here's
Robin.
the thing. Everybody, man, all of us, like, you have something to add to the discussion.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't matter how great or how small. It's not insignificant, because together as a whole, it's necessary. So me running around without my pinky toes, okay, my balance is gonna be off. There's gonna be some adjustments that I have to make, over adjustments.
Toes matter, right?
And over correcting because of the fucking pinky toe, the baby toe. Okay?
Right.
So all I'm saying is, listen, man, all this whole big eyes, little you shit, that shit ain't real. Listen, it doesn't matter. We need every one of us. Every one of us. So lean into those moments of discomfort. I am a believer in discomfort is what identifies where I'm actually at and what I need to be focused on. The shit that I'm uncomfortable with.
And step into your superpower. Let's all find our superpower. We got to figure out how to find it. You know, You know what? One thing I read or I heard, and it was to find your superpower. Think about and you don't have to say say it out loud or anything, but what is the one thing that you're really, like you were just saying, is you're really good at? Or a way to look at it is, what's the one thing everybody comes to you for? It doesn't matter what it is. What is it that you're really good at? It could be something like a meal, it could be sewing, it
It
could
could
be
be you have a green thumb and you know how to grow
you know
plants.
how to grow. Yeah, or you're just that listening ear, or you're the light of the party. Who knows? Whatever that superpower is, that may be that's what you're naturally really good at, and that's your superpower, and you find
Yes.
a way to lean into it some kind of way, and then you just step in it and believe in it. But anyway, we'll have more conversations like this for sure. And baby toes do matter. I mean, just ask SD. Thank you, everybody. Oh, Julie Hurst. I've seen a few people in here that I haven't seen before.
Yeah,
Thank you,
absolutely. Thank you for
somebody,
coming.
for coming.
We appreciate it.
Somebody. Thank you, somebody, for coming. Did I just say that?
You
I
did, but we're gonna move past that.
I did. Amen to finding our superpower. Robin, finding our superpower. If you need someone to talk to about anything, text 2988-24/7.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a good thing. I
That's a
didn't know that, Marianne.
that
Thank
is a
you.
crisis line. That's a
Oh,
mental health crisis
great.
line. Absolutely.
I didn't know that.
Um, I actually know some people that work up there. Actually, as a matter of fact. So
I didn't know
yeah,
that. And you can text it. You don't, because a lot of people are uncomfortable with talking. Because I remember when I was struggling with sobriety, and I was like, I didn't know what to do. I mean, I figured it out now, but I never did call. But it was like I was so embarrassed. I didn't know, because I didn't want to actually physically talk to somebody. But I was like, what am I supposed to do? I'm not sure. But that's why I'm glad to see that
yeah.
there's a text.
Yes, listen, the idea of shame, and we need to do a whole session. We could do a whole session on shame and the damage that it does to us. But that's usually what keeps a lot of us from seeking help in any way. Seeking financial help. It doesn't matter what it is, right? It's just like we have this notion that I'm supposed to be self-sufficient,
Yeah.
all within myself. And I say this to that notion. And I had to learn this one the hard way. But if you had all the answers, there would be no need for anyone else ever. The idea that I am supposed to have all the answers is a fallacy, because what it does is it removes the significance of those that are around you, to where you can have a level of, and here's the key word, appreciation for what they bring to your circumference, what they add to your environment. And that's the basis of it. It's not a big I, little you. The idea is that we have all these other gifts and talents and abilities around us, and I can appreciate, because you don't know what it's like to be thirsty, or you don't know the appreciation of having something to drink until you're thirsty.
Mm-hmm.
You'll never understand that. So when we have a situation, man, I'm really struggling with this. I don't know. I won't know the appreciation of a listening ear until I trust and I find somebody that can listen. And then it's like, yo, fuck it. You just have no idea how much I needed that.
Right.
I didn't even know how much I needed to be able to get that out. But someone that can hear appropriately. So yes, shame is a major detractor to a lot of things that we need in life, especially to grow and to progress and to be our optimized or optimal self. And so, yeah, please, by all means, by
Mm-hmm.
all means, yeah, Robin, you're not alone in that. A lot of people have that same concern. A lot of us do, in varying degrees. Um, but trust is one of those things that I'll say this on that note, and this one was really struck me. We are one of the few species that relies on trust solely. Because if you think about when you were born, any of us were born, before you got to the age where you could take care of yourself, somebody had to take care of you. Somebody did. The fact that that happens in the beginning of our life and it also happens at the end of our life, that's telling the true story. So if it's prevalent at the beginning and prevalent at the end, the likelihood that it's significant all the way through. It's extremely significant all the way through.
That you trust.
Yeah, because you got to think about it. You had to be able to. There's no way you would have been here because before you were able to take care of yourself, something or someone had to take care of you. Period. Period. There's no way for you to make it to the age of maturation without that. So this is again, all cases, all scenarios. Great. No, have we had to deal with some bullshit as kids and wooty wooty woo? Yes, we did. Absolutely. But the baseline of it, that's their fuck up. That's not yours. The baseline of it is you had to trust because you were entrusted to. So the idea across the board, if you look at the human trajectory, the human lifespan, if it's significant at the beginning and it's also significant at the end, that tells me that middle shit, this little shit we living right now, oh, it's significant there too. So, but we have to learn our way and see our way through it, and it can't be optional. So, but listen, prayers out to you, prayers out to all of us who are dealing with that. I'm a big fan of leaning into the discomfort. If you need to go reach out to mental health, I'm a huge proponent for mental health. I'm a huge proponent for groups. I'm a huge proponent for finding the right type of assistance. Primarily because I'm a benefactor of it. I've seen it, I've done it, I do it. And I do it for myself. So I have people I talk to, I go to therapy, therapists need therapy, and therapists, doctors need doctors. It doesn't matter what the fuck you are. And we're not too far or too above any of this. So my encouragement to any of us who are struggling with anything, lean into that discomfort, reach out for help. As a matter of fact, I was a part of a suicide prevention line and on campus. As a matter of fact, I was a president of the team, if you will, or the organization, and going out and really talking about suicide was not a fun thing to do initially, but then you start to realize, like, a lot of times people just want to be heard, and that's what they need. And so knowing that there are good people that are willing to, like, legitimately listen, yeah, it makes a difference. So there are people out there, and they're out there waiting, and they're ready, and they'll walk with you through the process.
Yeah.
So that's just my encouragement on that piece.
Yeah, that's deep. You said I feel like a failure, maybe because I didn't have the greatest example. Yeah, Robin, you should come around more often and look at some of our previous podcasts. It was great to have you here, and I really do appreciate the engagement when you guys chat and engage with us, and we try to keep up on the comments so people are heard and no judgment, and this is a safe space, and we're going to talk about a lot of things, and some things may be triggering, and some things yeah, I don't know, but we're all here to help each other. Like, we all have a superpower. We know what Dynamics' superpower is.
What is it? Well, no. What? Oh,
that nigga can talk. If we need anybody to talk us about some shit, we need this nigga right here on our team, nigga. We could be in a hostage situation. He'll get us out. You think you need a gun to get us out? Okay, I'll just kid. Okay, Robin, leaning into the discomfort is a new theory. I'm gonna suck that one in. That's his shit. He always says that, Robin.
Yeah,
Leaning
man.
comfort.
We're gonna do a session on that. We'll do a whole session on that, or I'll do it on my personal page. But that's a real one. That one right there was life transformative for me. It transformed my life, and I'm not even gonna lie to you. It legitimately did. Yes, that message, and it's been etched into me ever since. And so I use it. I see it. I live by it.
I like it too now.
I use it to identify areas that I need to grow in.
Yeah.
Because usually what I'm avoidant of is if you believe in God, oftentimes I relate that's the God factor. What I'm resistant to is oftentimes the God factor. It's something involved in this that has my next level associated with it. Is it easy to do? Always? No. Does it get easier? Not necessarily, but what it does do is when you build up your courage and you realize that, oh man, what I've been asking for, what I'm hoping for, believing for, what I hear deep down about me is usually associated with the things that I am avoiding. And so leaning into that discomfort until that discomfort becomes comfort. Oh, it's a real fucking
But as
thing.
soon as it becomes comfortable, it's time to experience it again. There's the growth.
Not it.
What?
No.
It being the discomfort. What are you talking about?
No, it is not, I'm saying it is not whatever the circumstance was. Because when we grow, it's like grade school. Once I achieve the ability to do 1 + 1 = 2, when I'm 17, I'm not still doing 1 + 1.
Wait, what did I say? I said it's time to do it again, meaning lean into the discomfort.
Okay, yeah. But I'm just making a distinction that
Maybe not that specific
it's
discomfort.
not the same thing. Yeah.
It's no. It's not going to be the same unless you're not growing.
People say same shit, different day, and I always have a problem with that, because if it's the same shit, different day, it's because you're not growing.
Yeah,
in some way.
And some of us don't grow.
That's not true.
I disagree. Some of us, I spend a lot of my time not leaning into discomfort, and I'm just starting to do that. And now I'm starting to grow. Now
right.
That's
the point.
Right.
If you're not doing it, you're not growing, because it's going to keep repeating itself until you get it.
Correct.
So when you get it, we move on to the next thing, and we're past that. So there's no purpose for us to keep going around the same mulberry bushes our whole life. Once you achieve what you need to achieve, that shit is done. And then now we can build on that. And now we're gonna because I believe that the universe, God, and life conspires with you, not against you. Conspires with you. The same way the birds are provided worms and other shit in the morning, just like every fucking day. And you notice we don't walk around seeing dead birds all over the place and emaciated if they are dead, because them niggas is finding food somewhere. They're not reaping, but they're not sowing, but them niggas is finding food, which tells me, I think that's a life principle. I think there's a lot to that. A lot of our answers are here. So I am just a big proponent for it. I think ultimately, when we see those consistent trends represent themselves, it's because, okay, there's something I need to learn here. There's something else I can learn from this. And then we try to apply that shit and work it out.
Yeah.
So my apologies for going so hardcore with that. Superpower.
He knows I love him. Superpower. That's his superpower, y'all, and it's a good superpower. I'm telling you. Okay, I love you, and I love you guys, and we will see you next week.
Love you guys. Yeah.
Right? We'll be here next week.
We'll be here next week.
We don't know do we know what day of the week? It's either gonna be Thursday or Friday. We're trying out different days, but I'm assuming it'll probably be a Thursday.
It'll be most likely Friday.
Friday. Okay. Yeah. So more than likely Friday of next week. Stay tuned. Look on the community polls. I'll see you guys around in different chats around YouTube for sure. I appreciate you guys, and we love y'all.
Yeah, love you guys.
We got to play our song. You almost let me forget our exit song.
Outro.
Yeah, outro. This is our new outro.
You don't have to do the whole song though, but
I'll just a little bit of it. We got to do a little bit of it. We love you guys though. You guys are our superpower. That's why we show up every week.
Yeah.
We appreciate you. All right, y'all. Have a good one. If I can find this song. Oh, here you go. It's time to go. All right, y'all. It's time to go.
Man, love somebody. It's time to go. Let's start a whole movement. Love yourself, though. In a real way.
The lights are on. The club is closed. You don't want to leave because you love her. Something ain't right, you doing bad tonight. You be all alone if you don't have a wife. Cause these ladies ain't feeling you. They don't want to know what you can really do. They just want to make you disappear. Get the fuck up out of ear. Take that shit back over there. Go away. She don't want to know you, player. What you gotta say? Just like this. Loud as you can. Say, oh, that beat. 5 minutes ago, you was thinking, would she roll out with you and give you some? I don't think that's going down. But you don't want to go home now.
It's time to go up out my face. You better get up out my face. Get up out my face. You better get up out my face. It's time to go. Get up out my face. You better get up out my face. Get up out my face. You need to get up out my face. It's time to go.
Came to my house with a maxi pad.
Peace out, y'all. We'll see you next week.
No more limos. Run the meter. We might need stitches.